The WHO classified health as the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. That was 1948. And after that, two more has been added in the dimension: the emotional, the spiritual, social. And this is important. The spirituality suddenly has taken a very strong seat in Western world. Lot of psychosocial stress. We call it stressor in the term of endocrinology. They alter your metabolism. And because they alter your metabolism, you have a problem. You cannot, your immunity to fight with the disease becomes less. And there are many neurohormones which we'll talk in a moment. So we have in center age, hereditary factors, many factors which would operate. And then we had a climate change, we have a global system, ecosystem, and then the biodiversity. We primarily are concerned with what is called environmental health. Ultimately, it is the human being who has to survive the onslaught. And these adversities important because they can be easily prevented. You will be surprised to know that now we're taking all the measures to reverse the diabetes, to take the diabetes into remission, take the blood pressure into the remission. And now physicians are innovating the molecules which are more physiological, part of your food. I was referring to this. This is from the Rig Veda, the most ancient scripture. When nothing was there, then the word was created. And as it happened with Jesus said, let there be light, there was light. The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, the what we call holy triangle. And God called the light as the day and the darkness as light. But what is important here, the evolution of the life primordia from the sea, and accordingly settling all the molecules, the CO2, the hydrogen, the synthesis. In Ayurvedic literature, I come from the Benares, the Kashi, the place where the Lord Dhanvantari lived, practiced the modern surgery, Shushruth. And we believe that this human constitution of 5 fundamental elements, and these 5 elements are the sky, the water, the ether, the air, and the fire. And when you die, you go back to the same. Either you are cremated, or you are given a burial, or you are left. Again, the body mixes into back. But spirituality is an important issue now. Even cancer has a strong determinant as you can certainly modify the course of the disease. Heart disease, disease of the intestine. Many diseases have the spirituality important issues. But what today we are concerned with, the question of environmental health, how it is important. And this is important because the heart disease is number 1 cause of the death, about 2.4 million. Chronic respiratory disease, the lung disease, comes about 1.9 million. Cancer is 1.8 million. And there are the unintentional injuries, respiratory infection, stroke, diabetes, and then malaria. This is because which element of the nature is toxic to you? I said in the beginning, when single cell animal was created rather, it became from Merozoite to Prozoite and then ultimately to the multicellular animal. The heavy metals which were around the sea, they itself were toxic. And life learned how to fight with them. So what those metals were, which is called prebiotic chemical evolution. So there were 2 things happening. The life was evolving, the nature was evolving. And there was adaptability between the natural evolution and the sustainability of the life. So Earth's ancient environment was very different, very little atmospheric oxygen, and all these activity, radiation, ultraviolet, volcano reception. Abiotic, this is the synthesis of monomers, synthesis of nucleic acid, synthesis of protocell, and origin of self-replication molecule. Why it is important to understand? Because the ocean in which these replications occur, the environment which is there in the ocean needs to be corrected according to the environment of the cell. How it is corrected? Corrected with the maintaining equilibrium between the sodium. Sodium is the principal ion which is important for the survival. So our body learned how to drive away the sodium with the power, that's the ATP pump. So we needed energy. And the important issue came because photosynthetic bacteria. Had they not been here, probably we would have consumed all the oxygen. And there have been only CO2 left. And that was true also. The heavy metals which are still toxic, we'll talk in a moment to them, like cadmium came about something like 60,000 BC, copper 42,000 BC, 4,200 BC, silver 4,000 BC. Lead and the mercury is the most detrimental molecule, most toxic molecule to the life even today. This is the cave painting human learned to pass on the communication because there was no words, no language, so they did the cave painting. And we published 2 papers, international paper, based on the Paleolithic period painting near Kashi, Varanasi. And we believe that only 2 places on this planet is the oldest in the world, Rome and the Kashi. There was still the rock painting, the oxygen dating proofs, and that's what we published in one of the journal. There have been demographic transition, and these transitions have affected the health. The birth rate, initially it was very high, then came to a plateau, and then there was birth control. The death rate was equally high, so population did not grow. But now what we understand, that both has come because of stage 3 and 4, high technology, low birth rate, slow death rate, and the population now is stable. There have been epidemiological transition. And this transition is because of the decrease in non-communicable diseases. They have increased. The communicable diseases have decreased because of better water sanitation. But on contrary, the heart attack, diabetes, blood pressure, cancer, all they increased. So today we have the highest rate of the cancer at my right hand, followed by the coronary heart disease, followed by type 2 diabetes, and the trauma. This is what Hippocrates said 500 years before Christ, that the medicine would be your food. And that's the importance in this crowd, those people who deal with the agriculture, those who are dealing with botany, those who are dealing with the fertilizer, those who are dealing with the food processing industry. They are responsible people because now henceforth onward, most of the medicine would be delivered in the form of food. And there would be the natural product which would be synthesized and would be produced for the treatment of disease. The heavy metals which I was referring, and why it is important, because industrial pollutants is now today at the top. Number 1, every country wants, even the politicians are troubled. People in opposition, they ask the Prime Minister, there is no job. Where is the job? There is no industrial growth. So society wants industrial growth, scientists want industrial growth, people in opposition politics, they want to catch hold of the neck of the Prime Minister or administration that you don't have a job, so you need a lot of industry. But this industry creates a lot of pollution. Who will manage that? You. And what are these pollutions primarily related to the disease? Mercury, dermatitis, kidney disease, rheumatoid arthritis, lead, brain damage, circulating nervous system, cadmium, carcinogenic, kidney disorders, chromium, nickel. And one of the unfortunate story, again, our own publications, is the point of bringing that publication over here, that people who lived near the Ganges, on the verge of the Ganges, on the shore of the Ganges, from those parts where there had high industries around Kanpur, whole of the Ghaziabad town, then rest of the Bihar, Bengal, had a very high mercury content. And unfortunately, the nickel and the cadmium have been now associated with the high rate of malignancy, cancer of the liver. This is the zone. The mercury, lead, followed by the copper, zinc, and these pollutions come from the forest fires, volcanic activity, dust particles. The mercury toxicity is very famous, Miyamata disease. Japanese had a lot of it, those areas where you consume that fish, and that would lead to the mental retardation, seizure, cerebral palsy, blindness. And this was a point of concern even when we were appearing for MBBS examination. We used to get short note on Miyamata disease because of the potential toxicity of mercury. Fish is being consumed those areas and the poor development of nervous system. There's the 650,000 new births per year risk from developmental neurological damage, and this is because of, again, industry. Around the world, seafood with mercury levels over 0.5 to 1 ppm are considered unsafe for human beings. I know the craze in the Caribbean country. Whole of the Caribbean country, coastal area, there's a craze for the seafood. And if industries are not taken into care, probably they are going to have the toxicity and the poor neurological diseases. Cadmium, depression, growth, kidney damage, cardiac enlargement, heart failure, and fetal deformity. Lead is an issue because now we are replacing most of the power station from the nuclear to the battery. Now we are going for the green system, green ecology. And we have a battery-driven car, battery-driven, electric-driven the buses, electric-driven scooter and the bike. So we have a lot amount of lead would be wasted, and these lead would ultimately come into the environment would be cause of the pollution. They can lead to anemia, kidney failure, blood pressure. Water easily controlled now, but still the potable water is a problem because the groundwater is going below, low and low. Population is increasing, skyscrapers are increasing, 100 building towers around all field. The crops have been destroyed and the buildings are coming up because everybody wants a place to live in the town and the job and employment. And that's one of the reason the waterborne diseases are again at the rise. We have still 9 out of 10 deaths are in children, and virtually all of the deaths are due to in the developing countries. So we are responsible. Me, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the developing world, because of the water problem into the poor sanitation area, have a very high propensity for the gastrointestinal disease, high propensity for the skin disease, high propensity for the neurological diseases. I think you know I'll go quickly to it because Dr. Mishra wants me to finish it quickly for help of others. CO2 story. And this story is because the gradual falling of the oxygen level increasing CO2 pollutant. And I'll go quickly to this graph. This was at the beginning, 800,000 years before, here. And this is today. Look at the values. It remains sustainable over the period. इसमें हम focus नहीं कर सकते. Can you give me I'm not able to. No, it's not working. It cannot be seen over here. That's the problem. But look at my resolution is high. On this side, look at the values. And suddenly, from 1950 onward, this steep rise into the CO2 emission. And this is going to continue for a longer time. This is the cause of respiratory illness. the poor lung compliance. We are surviving longer. The survival rate in this country during British time, it was only 35 years, before 1947. Today, it is 60 plus. So our longevity is increasing, but the lung compliance is decreasing, the atmosphere is polluting, and this is one of the reasons why we have a lot of lung diseases. 4.3 million deaths due to indoor air pollution. And they can lead to COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, pneumonia. Worst is stroke, 34%. You get paralysis. And the life becomes worst. If you do not reach hospital within 3 to 4 hours, only then we can do thrombolysis. We can take away the clot. You can stand. But most of the remote area, you think of Mizoram. How can you drive within 3 hours from the top of the hill down to your hospital? So you lose the virtual time. And therefore, you remain rest of your life as a paralyzed. So stroke and the coronary heart disease. We have a primary pollutant in the air. We have a secondary pollutant. And all these gases which is liberated like ammonia, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds, they're all increasing. And this is the pollution which is leading to 7 million deaths. Stroke, heart disease, more than 2 million in Southeast Asia, to which we belong, 2 million Western Pacific region, about 1 million in African countries, 500,000 deaths in the Eastern Mediterranean country, and more than 300,000 rest of the world. We have a short-term problem, we have a long-term problem. And these problems are created depending upon the individual and their status. This is the lung specimen. Look at this specimen on my right side, which is little pink, looks normal. These are the autopsy findings when you take out dead bodies for the research purposes. On the right side, you get all these black dot. The whole of lung is filled. This is the looks what you get in those people who live around the industry and industrial pollution. So we have a problem, and why I said this is, we shouldn't become so depressed, because our DNA mutates. This is called epigenetics. Our gene learns how to survive in adversities, and that's the adaptation. And this adaptation comes from, this is the different type of pollutants, respiratory, particulates, carbon monoxide, lead, asbestos. Then problem comes with the food. Initially, we did not have food. Now we have many food. And you do survey of the school-going children, especially the public school. You look at them, short stature, big tummy, chubby cheeks. We become very happy. We have an outlet of the burger, hot dog, whatnot. But all that, they've got very thick calorie, they're dense calorie food. And the amount of calories they put in, you cannot dispose it off. They go into your hepatocyte in the liver, then they damage over there, you get a lot of fat, and they go back to the pancreas. And this is the risk of obesity. Obesity is a big issue now. We have a different medical society based on obesity. It can lead to, you think of any disease on the earth, obesity is one of the important causes. Countries with the most obese people, US number 1, China number 2, we are number 3. We are poor people, developing world. Unfortunately, we are obese people. And our obesity is the worst. And it's rising 2.1 billion in the 30% now. So 73% of urban Indians, this is the warning, 73% of urban Indians are overweight, and half of that urban Indians are obese. And they are at a very high risk of developing diabetes, heart attack. And the worst part is 28 to 38 years. Now there's a fashion, wife doesn't want to cook on Friday and Saturday. They want to go out, eat out. And your quarter of salary would go into the restaurant, eating all junk food. This is from the Public Health England. 28% of children 2 to 15 years are overweight. This is the UK statistics. In 10 to 11-year-old, 65% in England, they are overweight. What is the future? So we have to answer this question. This is the Holy River. Look at the tummy. And look at the two soldiers, great soldiers, doing your protection. That's one of the worst things can happen. And because of that, you can get into the lot many diseases, depression, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, joint pain, muscle pain, cramps, etc. This is Professor Yagnik from Pune. And this is Yutskin, like our handsome, tall minister from Sri Lanka. What is the difference? Both have got the BMI 22.3, 22.3, but the body fat is 9.1%. It is 23% on the Indian side. This paper was published in New England Journal of Medicine and get a lot of popularity. Dr. Yagnik is still with us. He is not a sick person. We are the thin, built, still fatty people than the Western Caucasian who are not, they have got good muscle built, but they are not fatty. How it is contributed? Obesity is contributed by air pollution, built environment, smoking, maternal smoking. It's very unfortunate, but a lot of young girls are now involved in smoking. And this is the result from the Delhi. Even Delhi and most of the Western country, young females are smoking, and the obesity is one of the cause. This would change into the phenotypic, the epigenetics, and would reverse the epimutation. So we are fighting at both ends. We are fighting at the level of the environment, fighting at the level of our own physiology, at the level of the body, and we are fighting at the level of the mutation, at the genetic mutation. It could be an irreversible mutation between the gene, and then you will end up in disease. If it is reversible mutation, there are chances that we can revert the disease. This is how the change into the epigenomes occur. And these changes occur because of the methylation. And the methylation is at the level of DNA. Now, methylene is one of the important products. You generate methylene in the industry. You also generate within your own body. And if it is not being disposed of properly, then you will end up in these changes. This is how the methylation would occur from looking at the two different molecules. This is a cyclopentane of perhydrofuran 3 nucleus on one side, and then the transcriptional activities on the hydroxymethylation of 5-carbon atom position. So interaction between genes, environment, and epigenetic disease, the genomes can give rise to many phenotypes based on the family history, hereditability, environment, and the structure. I have shown this slide because of the histone modification in relation to type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes this diabetes requires insulin all your life. Type 2 diabetes is acquired because of the bad habits. What's important here, that now we have known the mutation site, and these sites can be now handled. You can get gene therapy, you can get gene replacement, and you can get gene transplantation. So the exposure to the bad environment can lead to inflammation, endocrine disruption, clonal selection, oxidative stress, and would lead to DNA methylation, and ultimately histone code and gene expression for the chromatic dysfunction. There are many, I'm coming to the last few slides. There are many diseases because of the metabolic changes, many because of the rare diseases, cancer and metabolic syndrome. All can be now targeted because of the bad environmental handling. Last is the radiation. And somebody was talking about these three different radiation, the alpha, beta, and the gamma radiation. And these are the biological effects of the radiation. Large dose of radiation may cause extensive and fatal nervous system damage, and the higher dose can lead to chances of quicker effects radiation carcinogen. There could be chemical hazards because of mutant gene, and there could be also affect our immune system. There can be affect the germ resistance theory, and antibiotics is the issue. We do not have much antibiotics left now. Our quacks, the contemporary practitioners, have used all antibiotic. It's so unfortunate. I don't know what happens in Mizoram, but in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, even the village practitioner uses maximum, most costly antibiotic on the day one. You do not have time to wait. You got a fever today, viral fever, which could have gone without treatment. We teach our students the treated fever lasts for 1 week, untreated lasts for 7 days. So you take all heavy antibiotic and you request doctor, you insist with the doctor that please write me. And he can get ceftriaxone, meropenem, all those antibiotics on the day one, which would cost him 2,000-3,000 rupees of no use. What bad it is doing? This is getting resistant to the existing bacteria. Bacteria, they are much older than us. They have known the environment much better than what we understand today. So they can fight. And we do not have antibiotic now. And one of the reasons of getting antibiotic resistance is bad environment. And because of the antibodies that affected due to the genetic resistance. This is the countries which generates most of the electronic waste somebody was talking before at the inaugural point. This is one of the most difficult problem to answer, how to settle with the issue. China at the top, United States, India has come at the, look at the India, such a fortunate and unfortunate country. Fortunate because we want to acquire everything so quickly, want to become number one in the world. Unfortunate in the disease, in the nuclear waste. So now we are at the fourth, trying to compete with the China. Why should we? And therefore, we should defer the use of these electronic gadgets to the minimum. I would have loved to teach with the chalk on the board. But now, system doesn't permit. This is about IT and telecom equipments, household appliances, toys, medical devices. And what is the impact? Damage to the central and peripheral nervous system, affects brain development. Children, now mothers, when they go for the work, they give the mobile to a small newborn boy. He learns better mobile than mother. She doesn't know that it is going to damage her brain as well as the eye, lung cancer, heart, liver, respiratory disease. So these are the unseen heroes. Artificial intelligence, one of the biggest issues. The role of artificial intelligence in environmental health is a continuous growing and evolving area with several opportunities. And as we become more reliant on AI to address some of the world's most pressing environment challenges, it is vital to invest this technology while addressing potential proactivity. This is where the modern doctor would look like. Without picking up the instrument, with artificial intelligence, he can go in the room, look at the X-ray, open your abdomen without knife, palpate your organ, do the surgery, come out. So much dependent on the technology. Still, things remain worst. So these are the major environmental challenges. On the food supply problem, overgrazing, farmland loss, wetland loss, overfishing, coastal pollution, soil erosion, soil salinization, soil water logging, biodiversity, air pollution, and water pollution. So ultimately, this is my last slide. We have to come to the solace. I was talking in the beginning of the Panch Mahabhut, the 5 immortals to which this body has been created. If we do not answer these questions right now, especially the developed world has already answered. They've started cutting there. And most of my friends who are in the US do not keep mobile phone. You give them a call, then you always get an answer from the machine, which is at the home. We cannot survive without mobile phone. Even the beggars on the road, those who do not have place to live, money to eat, clothes to wear, have to set up mobile phone. This is going to destroy. The answer comes from scientists of all the discipline, more from the town planners, politicians, and a spiritual leader. Spirituality is coming year is going to become number one in taking the solace. Thank you very much for listening. My university has given me enough money to survive without charging a single penny.
No. Very interesting story. There was a marriage of his daughter. So he was in OPD. He looked after the patient in the OPD BHU up to 7:30. Am I correct, sir? That day there was marriage. And people were saying, this marriage of your daughter, still you are here. Sir told, no, until unless I am completing all the patients, I will not go home. That could be one of the reasons he was awarded by the Padma Shri. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all. Right now, we heard the lecture delivered by Dr. K. Mishra, Padma Shri Awardee. He has delivered a very good, informative and lucid talk, and he has covered all the aspects, right from origin of earth to origin of life, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, agricultural pollution, and also how these pollutions are related with our health and also food, and that's too the modern gadgets that we are using, how those gadgets are also causing different diseases to human being. Just I will add one or two lines. In the air pollution, he has told many things about the heavy metal pollution, but you all know right now all the pollutions are mostly coming from either from urbanization or from industrialization or from motorization. And there are many obnoxious gases along with particulate matter are discarded to the atmosphere. And if you see the particulate matter, based on the size, there are two types, mostly PM10 and PM2.5. Those are mostly responsible for causing different health effects in our body, particularly to the lungs. And in PM10 and 2.5, you know, they are mostly made up of silica particles, and along with silica particles, they are also composed of heavy metals. And not only heavy metals, another most important thing that is present in the particulate matter, that is called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH. And for your information, these are multiple of benzene rings. And these polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, there are many polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are present in the particulate matter. But out of that, 16 polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are called as priority polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Those are mostly responsible for cancer also. This is one. In addition to the heavy metals that Sir has told, those are mostly responsible for various types of diseases. This is one. Then, just, yes, and every person requires 8 glasses of water to drink a day, but half a glass of water will be drink to them because of loss of forest cover. And in the absence of water, the people will fight for a jerrycan of water at gunpoint. And many gastrointestinal disease will come out, like your kidney will be defunct and many more. And not only that, he has told that in India, will be the most water deficit country in the world. And because of that, what will happen? Because if 2/3 of India is covered by sea. That's why all the industries, those are requiring water, will be stopped. Only the desalination plant will float in India to supply the potable water in India. Not only that, at the last he has told one most important thing, that the spermatozoa requires lot of water to maintain its shape and size. And in the absence of water, this spermatozoa will lose its shape and size, and the offspring will come out with deformities. So this is few points that I want to add. Sir has told a very good talk, and because of his devotion to his job and honesty and sincerity, he has got the Padma Shri Award. We owe a lot to you, sir. We all are owe a lot to you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice talk. Now, I request Professor D.C. Rai, who is the former dean and the head of Ecology and Environmental Science from Assam University, Silchar, to deliver his talk. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. It's my privilege to share with you that organization of such kind of international conference entitled Climate Change, Natural Resource Management for Sustainable Management. It's very pertinent and very useful with the present environmental situation. I must share also the organization with the galaxy of the participants. I must say the Southeastern Asian countries and entire country assembled here, and that is a credit and thanks deserved by Professor Mishra and his department in particular, and Mizoram University in general. So I was really impressed after coming here that such kind of organization would be possible or not. And it is the extreme eastern nook of the country where communication is a problem. It's not like Delhi, Calcutta, or Mumbai. Even then, the galaxies are here. So you deserve, the university deserves the thanks. And we are talking about the natural resource management, and the title says, yes, it is the right time to utilize the natural resources for our sustenance and for our next generations. It is our optimum duty. We talked a lot, but how much we act on this? Big, high molecular weight words we are using. But are we performing in action? That is the point. Today it is the challenge. That how, in a proper manner, we can utilize natural resources as the population is increasing. It is again a serious threat to the country, for our country. The second mega populous country, we have achieved that title. It is our responsibility now in what best way we can utilize natural resources for the sustainable management of our next generation. So here, a little contribution I want to share with you, that whatever work we have done in Assam University Department of Environmental Science, that we have seen some plant materials we call botanicals. These plant materials, how can we use in controlling many pest species in the cropland, in the horticulture ecosystem, in the agriculture ecosystem. That is a challenge because food. Ultimately, we have to consume food. We are consuming food. We are eating food. And food is contaminated by chemicals. As Professor Tripathi also mentioned many things, different aspects of chemicals, how it affects to the human cell system, in situ, ex situ systems. So, our work is confined with the plant materials, how the various types of plant materials can be used in a proper manner to manage the pest species, which is a threat to the future agriculturist, future horticulturist. You see, we are consuming food, fruit, raw fruit, lychee, mango. Many delicious fruits are there. And do you know behind this what is happening? How we are getting the mangoes? If we don't spray any pesticide, chemical pesticides, we are unable to grow the mango. We are unable to grow the lychee. We are unable to grow strawberry, blackberry, and so on. If we don't take care, the agricultural field, rice, wheat, you won't get the productivity, you won't get the yield. 100% yield will be destroyed due to pest species. And there are many types of pests, insects, bird, fungus, many things are there. And they are the enemy of the farmer. We call their enemy, but I should say they are not the enemy. It is their right. They need food. The insects, they have the rights, equal rights with the human, like human. They are bound to take food. We are calling them their enemy. Why? Because they are destroying our food. So this we are linking or correlating. So now it is a threat. How to change, combat, to protect our agricultural yield out of those insect pest species. So some plant materials we have selected in my research group. Different plant materials we have selected and we used their material, plant extracts, to control many agricultural pest species. And you know, these plant materials, the concept of using plant materials started after insecticidal era. Please show the slide 1. So my contribution paper title is The Perspective and Prospective of Using Botanicals in Pest Management, an Eco-Friendly and Sustainable Method of Agro-Horticosystem Preservation. Basically, plant products, natural products, we used in controlling many pest species in rice ecosystem, in vegetable ecosystem, in horticultural ecosystem. These three major agroecosystem we have selected. So, what is plant materials? Plant materials naturally occurring from plant body, and these are also called green pesticides. You know, green pesticides, green chemicals, because they does not possess any kind of toxicity on their own. About 350 insecticidal compounds, more than 800 insect-feeding deterrents, and good number of insect growth inhibitor, growth regulators have been isolated from various plant species so far. But I must say here and share with you, this 800 or 350, these numbers are varying according to various scientists' report. So I have selected this Raghavendra et al. 2016. It is found that now on the basis of summarization of some data, I found this is okay. This 800 and 350 insecticidal moieties. So these are already discussed. And later on, if we see 1850, I'm talking about the retrospective of using plant material. Around 850, a new plant extract, newly formed plant extract discovered from retinol. It's a plant berries from roots. 1850, I started with using berries plant, and that is reported by Abel Gani 2012. Botanical pesticide could be divided into 2 generations. First generation reporting rotinone, Sabadilla, Rhinia, pyrethrum. And second generation is synthetic pyrethroids and new products. So this way the entire plant kingdom, plant material kingdom has been divided. First generation, second generation. But we can see this first generation, second generation, third generation of pesticide. I'm talking about the synthetic pesticides. There are 3 generations of pesticides already described. And that insecticidal era, as per the data history, we can see that the insecticidal era started in 1939 when Second World War started or begins with the discovery of DDT. The Mullah, the Swiss chemist, who first discovered DDT. And by 1960, there is sporadic manufacturing of fluorinated hydrocarbon, followed by organophosphate, and third generation was synthetic pyrethroids. Natural pyrethroids are there, synthetic pyrethroids are there, and comparatively safer. So, either it is chlorinated hydrocarbon or organophosphate, even carbamate group, they are highly toxic to human being, the entire biota. They are causing disturbance to air, water, and soil. We are indiscriminately using pesticides in agricultural field, in vegetable field, orchards, everywhere to get quick action against the pest species. My crop will be saved and farmers are happy. We are selling to the market and the customers, the consumers, we are buying by seeing the bright color of the vegetables. Potato, tomato, shining color, and high price one we are buying. Brinjal, it is shining. Why? Because of particular pesticides, phosphomidone, decofol. These are making shining to the outer coverage of the fruits. Pumpkin, lychee, looking very bright color, red color. We are buying those. I should submit before you buy the dull color of vegetable rather than bright color. It indicates there is no pesticide used. So, after using indiscriminate using of pesticides, we are bound to twist how to get rid of all these problems. That is the plant indigenous materials or plant materials. And these plant materials after 70 to 80, 1970 to 80, I'm talking about India in particular and abroad in general, the world scientists, they started that what way or alternative way we can find out to safeguard the ecosystem, the ecosystem in general. So this plant product started and many commercial plant products come up in the market. Neem oil is very well known. Neem products are multispectral against many pest species we are using and getting promising results. Apart from that, some other citronella and some other oil-based, plant-based oil material we are using in the agricultural field. So here, biopesticides are usually inherent less toxic. It knows everyone, it is known to everyone toxic than conventional pesticides. These are generally affect only the target pesticides. Okay. Closely related organism, therefore, biopesticides become more popular since only the early phase of 70s. So 70s to 80s, that is the period when the scientists started thinking about the biopesticide, how it can be used, what best way we can utilize. If we look at the history, Indian history, the Vedic period, since then, the use of plant and plant materials for the control of pest species were very common. And this plant species used during Vedic period, long back. But this Odonaptinotica, the Sarcosastosa ficus vigusua, the indicate is common. Then Telotophis degenesia, Vedanga, Embedia. These are well recorded and well documented. So you can imagine that Indian system of using plant materials to manage cropland by this plant species, there is an example, there is a documentation. It is a multispectral action of plant materials. These plant materials, how it action takes place, or what are the areas? It is acting as an insecticide, it is acting as a fungicide, acting as virucides, nematicides, and bactericides. All possible actions we can get on plant materials. Yes, you can say, one can say easily, and plant materials does not possess such kind of toxicity. And I can bet, yes, it is correct. Plant material having lot of potentialities in combating pest species. For that, you need to devote time for in the agricultural field like an intensive scientist. You have to take preventive care on time, on right side, on right basis. Then only you can get proper results. Plant material having lot of potentialities to combat the problem. Here, how to use or prepare the plant materials for using in the agricultural field. There are different techniques in preparing the plant materials. How it is after this. There are different techniques in preparing plant extraction. The first technique is we using Soxhlet apparatus for extraction of plant materials. For that, we need plant materials which having potentialities of insecticidal or antivident activities of the plant materials, either leaf or shoots or roots, whatever. Air dried, then grind it, then go for extraction in the laboratory with different solvents, then redistilled, we get the crude extract. That crude extract we use by making desired concentration of the solutions. This way we have we do. This is one of the preparation. Another preparation, plant extract, we put in water for overnight. Then that water as a stock solution we diluted in different manners for using in the laboratory. Then we use plant materials with different types of materials, animal materials, cow urine, and plant materials also. So this different type of ratios we are using for controlling the pest species. So here in agricultural field, we used two locally available plant materials, and I had a opportunity to work in Tripura, to work in Barak Valley of Assam, and to work in Mizoram also. So we have a team there, collaborative research project in with CAU, Central Agriculture University, Manipur. So there also we worked, and our team having lot of data. I have extracted only few. So here, very common crop, that is pumpkin, and it is infected due to some pest species, common pest species in pumpkin beetle. We used Poplasoma, its soybeans and neem leaves extract. And these neem leaves or Poplasoma, this given almost 95% reduction of the population in the field level, not in the laboratory. And that proved these plants are having lot of potentiality in combating pest species in the field condition against the pumpkin crops. It was emerging results we have given, we got from the field. And likewise, we tested with the cabbage aphid. Cabbage is a common and winter crop. Cabbage aphid, it's a cluster manner, in fact, the cabbage. So that cabbage also, we found that cabbage aphid, it is drastically changed, reduced, almost 90% reduction of the population. We got it from 2% extract of soybeans extract, then neem extract. So this study we have made in Tripura. Then again, we have studied in Assam, where my university located, southern Assam, Parak area of Assam. There we worked on rice, local rice varieties. And his varieties always during 3 seasons in a year, a pest is common. Dactylia disparmi, right? Beetle. And the sporadic nature of the infestation we observe every year. So farmers also came to us, so what way we can manage this? We are not getting the solutions. We have visited. Then some plant materials were prepared in the laboratory. Then use them in the agricultural field. And can you believe that 1.5% to 2% plant food extract material when we used, within a week, the population diminished. And after 1 week, the new sprouting started in the field. So it was tremendous sections we got from the field. So this plant extract, actually, it helps us to a great extent in Barak Binyogosa. Then some biopesticides to persist in the mud. Out of those biopesticides also, it is few are neem-based and few are garlic mixture and one is nutshell. So this dicabiline, multiline, neem oil, other classical pest, these are all biopesticides purchased from different companies. Nagpur, then Gujarat, Ahmedabad, and so some are from Bangalore also we purchased and used. Out of the biopesticide as a cell, it is a kind of plant extract for Lalnundanga antidecency gas, one plant. That plant extract given 92% reduction of population in the rice field against rice. So this way we have tried and found very satisfactory result against this pest. Then in Manipur condition, we studied covering with different plant materials, extracts. At a concentration of 7,500 ml per hectare basis. It is a calculated that we earmarked half hectare, 1/4 hectare of land. We did the experiment there. So here we found that Nilagarica and Kawil. This is a mixture, and this mixture given highly satisfactory results. So this way we tried, and then we tried against some pesticides, lychee, that is a horticulture crop, and there we found 100% success on this. Here I must say one point, because study is very constrained for us, everyone. I am getting the knocking. There are spectra of pests in agriculture, but plant materials having some limitation. Take the insect feeding a cherry, such as tillings to the shoots of the plant and suck the plant and feed the plant. So for that nature of pesticide insects, this plant material having some limited 45 to 49% mortality we have got against the insects which are sucking in nature. So that is already mentioned. This tester is a little broader, but I will shorten it. Agrotic ecosystem has been facing a serious stress by spectra of fungi, etc. for time immediate, leading to eradicate decreasing yields. Insect pests are the big enemies of farmers already discussed. Chemical pesticides used to replace indiscriminately to harvest pests. These are making fertile land to unfertile and substitute land. Then rather than development of pesticide immunity and resistance to the insect body. Also contribute environmental pollution by contaminated air, water, land, already mentioned. The solution is to follow indigenous traditional system. With the advance and use of modern synthetic pesticides, the age-old practices are almost finished, but still continues in some developing countries in general, and again initiated by the developed country to a great extent. To a great extent. So our finding, what I want to say, our findings reveals the use of 50 surveillance, A. indica, D. stabonium, odorata, antidysenterica, stabonium. These are all plant materials locally available. Farmers are getting nearby the land, the agricultural land, and these are very useful. They can be used. They give promising results against the spectra of agriculture and horticultural pests as per our findings, which are locally abundant in Barak Valley of Assam, Tripura, and Manipur environmental conditions. All the tested biopesticides gave an excellent results in controlling lychee mites. That is the excellent result we got against lychee mites, lychee crop. Plant-bearing products are also contained in this. Okay, already mentioned. Now, increased importance is provided to naturally occurring plant associated with rich traditional knowledge base available in highly diverse community in India. Community-based systems are different. In each community, they have different types of preparations. Obviously, these practices are eco-friendly, ensures food safety and security. Notwithstanding the fact, the use of plant indigenous materials in controlling pests maintain sustainable nature of management in agri-horticultural ecosystem preservation. So what are the challenges of, just I will finish it. What are the challenges of using plant materials? It is a challenge for the today's environmental condition. Challenges are, despite current intensive research with plant materials, the assortment of suitable commercial products is very scanty, very limited, and insufficient in view of the global rising demand for biopesticides. Commercial basis, it is still in infancy. The few companies are there, they are manufacturing, but limited. So for commercial use like synthetic pesticides, we cannot buy the plant material as of now. That is a challenge. That is a challenge, and commercial production of botanical pesticides depend on the sustainable and continuous availability of plant biomass. Plant biomass also not available that way. And the third problem is the land, available land for cultivating such plant potentiality of having potentiality of pesticides on plant materials. Then quantity formulation is sometimes not standardized. That is also a challenge. Delay in getting registration from the authority. Authority made some sort of very stringent rules. That also delays in getting the registration for biopesticides. And successive spray means if you spray once, after 1 week you have to spray again, because these synthetic actions, it is very short residual time. So that's why we need a successive level of pesticide spray. And for that, we need more material. That is a challenge. Now, I have mentioned here future scopes also. Just mass cultivation of plant may be encouraged for commercial use by the farmers for in the barren lands, as there are almost 16.96% barren lands are available in India. And barren lands, wherever we have, these are not productive land also. And if we see northeastern India, barren land quantity, we find almost 22-23% barren lands are available in northeastern India. It is much higher than that of national average. So what I want to say, those barren lands, total area is 16%, 55,766 square kilometer area we have barren land in India. If we utilize only 1% to mass cultivation of those plant materials, we can sustain nicely. The commercial production is possible. That is my point of discussion. And here, the role of government also having some important role. The government can play a very intensive role in acceleration and promoting the use of plant insecticide, plant materials in a greater way by mass cultivation and giving facilities to the farmer. And awareness is also equally important among the common people, among the various level of student communities. With these few words, I thank you all for patience hearing. I have taken a little more on that.
Thank you, Professor Roy, for your nice talk on biopesticides. And right now we have heard from him how biopesticides are beneficial and it can be used against the chemical pesticides that we are using rampantly throughout India. You all know all the chemical pesticides based on nature of its origin. It is of three types, as he told: organochlorine, organophosphate, and carbamate pesticides. And among the three, organochlorines, its persistence in soil is very high compared to other two, but all the three are very toxic, not only to the soil, but also from human health point of view. And for your kind information, let me tell you that India is fourth in the world so far production of this pesticide is concerned. So far consumption of pesticide is concerned, also India is fourth. And so far import of pesticide is concerned, also India is fourth in the world. So you see, India not only consume lot of inorganic pesticides, but also imports large amount of inorganic pesticides and also produces large amount of inorganic pesticides. But these pesticides not only causing harm to the plants, to the soil, but also to the human being. That's why the biopesticide is most important. And as he told, these biopesticides, it contains a lot of chemicals, particularly, if I am correct, sir, those are called chemicals. And these chemicals are the chemicals, those are used to inhibit or kill the other organisms which are otherwise called pests. So lot of scope is there so far biopesticide is concerned, and it is very good not only from soil health point of view, but also human health point of view. So what is most important is that how to commercialize, how to make large-scale use of these pesticides, so that not only our soil will not suffer, but also our health will also remain good for a longer period of time. Thank you. Now we have another speaker, and we are running out of time. In spite of that, I request and Mr. Patali Champika. You know, he is right now a known figure. He was in the dais in the inaugural session. I do not want to give again introduction about him. So I request Mr. Patali Champika, please come to the dais and deliver your talk. And because of shortage of time, sir, if you don't mind, please try to wind up within 15 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everybody. When I got down from Delhi airport, I was informed that we had to be there for 5 hours to catch up the plane to Kolkata. So I read a book written by the External Affairs Minister, Hon'ble Jaishankar, Why Bharat Matters. I visited India, it's an official visit to meet Prime Minister Modi in 2015. Then the India's GDP was around 2.1 trillion. Now it is 3.4. At that time, I heard that India's carbon dioxide emission too has been exponentially increasing. And I glanced through a paper, I think Times of India, that reported 12th was the hottest day in this year. Maybe this is because of the end of the winter period. Maybe there's an El Nino effect in Indo-Pacific, or maybe it's the problem of global warming, consequences of climate change. So we are using these two words, weather and climate, interchangeably. But there is a difference, I mean in definition. The weather is a measure of day-to-day rainfall, temperature, snowfall, humidity, wind, etc. Climate means the average measure of temperature, humidity, wind speed, etc. over the large temporal windows. That's the basic difference between weather and climate. And you know, when you wanted to change something material, I mean the material world, you need energy. Change means energy, right? So how does this climate events happen? What's the source of energy behind all these phenomena? It is the source of energy is provided by the sun. That's why the Asian countries, including Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, sun is good, because everything is moving because of the energy from the sun. The amount the stability of the climate system depends on three specific ways when you are talking about the earth positioning and the sun's radiation. The amount of energy, the first one, the amount of energy radiation emanating from the sun. It depends on the curvature of the Earth, planetary orbit, obliquity, and the tilt and wobble of the Earth. The reflection of solar radiation by Earth's atmosphere, the wavelength of radiation emitted by Earth itself. These two are the last two are the most important things when you are talking about the global warming and climate change. And you know, this atmosphere it actually consists of various kind of gases, nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and things like that. But nitrogen and oxygen, they actually don't absorb radiation, but carbon. The Swedish scientist, Aronais, declared carbon accumulation in atmosphere in 1896. His paper was published in 1896. Accumulation in atmosphere may cause average temperature rise. And the famous person, the Stuart Callender, he predicted the carbon accumulation may cause temperature rise, changes in water cycle, wind cycle, oceanic current cycle, cycles of glaciation and deglaciations as well. So he modeled it. When carbon dioxide, the percentage of carbon dioxide increase in the atmosphere, it causes temperature to rise. This is the graph, and you know that I mentioned in the morning hours the Club of Rome Declaration, and the first prediction based on climate change in 1969, and there they concluded that the carbon emission, because of the burning of fossil fuels, that is the petroleum like diesel, petrol and kerosene, and the natural gases and the coal, may cause very serious problem of accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And it's rising because of this zigzag manner. It is the seasonal variations. You know, sometimes the sinking power of the globe, of the ecosystem may increase when in the winter periods, you know that the plants and other things, the level of sinking power is going down. That's why this zigzag thing, but it's increasing trend. And various kind of explanations are there. Some are actually trying to challenge this thing. Some researchers are there to challenge this thing, because this fossil fuel business is a very big business. It's $1 trillion business. So they are not going to, you know, that cut their production things because of this. So they are trying to, you know, that giving kind of extra, you know, these counter arguments against this. But 1992 Rio Convention and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change clearly identified the carbon dioxide accumulation there in our atmosphere would be the main cause, I mean 70% of the cause of the global warming and climate change events. So the global, you know, that this convention forced countries to reach kind of agreement. We called it Kyoto Protocol. Almost all the countries signed this in 1997. There was action plan from 1997 to 2007, but 2-3 countries, you know, that they were not part of this agreement. The one is US, other one is Canada, other one is Australia. They all signed this Kyoto Protocol, but they are, you know, politicians, especially the US Senate, opposed to sign and opposed to have a kind of obligations when they are talking about their emission levels and their economic growth. So this is a kind of a failed attempt to curtail the global warming and the climate change events. And year 2007, one Indian, he is an engineer, Mr. Pachauri, who headed the IPCC, that is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that's the scientific body, they studied this thing thoroughly, and they have various scenarios. You know that how much of carbon dioxide can increase the temperature levels. What are the consequences of this increase and things like that, various scenarios. And also, the most importantly, they introduced what you call the carbon budget for the whole world to survive. It's an existential problem for the whole humanity. So they introduced this very important thing, what you call this carbon budget. That means each and every person in this world should not emit beyond 2 tons of carbon within a period of 1 year, or the annual carbon emission being restricted to 2 tons per person. That's it. In Sri Lanka, it is 1 ton per person. In India now reaching, you know, that these two tons things have been now somehow breached, and India is now emitting more, but still in Sri Lanka, it is 1 ton per person. But in world, you know that it is 4.76 tons per person, right? That's the problem. So what are the consequences? Let us talk this thing separately. What are the consequences? One is the sea level rise. Because of the high temperatures, sea is being expanded, and also the, you know, these polar caps, melting polar caps, they are in Himalayas, they are in Arctic, they are in Antarctic, all these things, permanent caps being dissolved, and there is an increase in sea level rise. You know, if the Arctic ice caps totally vanish someday, the sea may be risen to 6 meters. 1/3 of Bangladesh will be inundated in the sea, right? During this century, 56 nations, those who are basically living there in Pacific Ocean, including the Maldives here in Indian Ocean, will be vanished. They go under sea. That's the main problem of sea level rise. And melting of polar ice caps may cause kind of a serious water shortages even in Nepal and other countries who are depending on these things. And if these polar ice caps being depleted or vanished, the globe, you know, its shape can be changed, causing serious eruptions there in our tectonic plates, right? This may also happen, right? It's a great challenge to the human being, because now day to day we can see lot of eruptions, lot of volcanic problems and other things. So you can see, you may know about the great tsunami happened in 2004. 40,000 Sri Lankan lives being killed by this tsunami. All over the world it's 200,000. That kind of things may happen again and again because of these melting ice caps. These are the scenarios predicted in 2007, and last year the COP meeting, the Conference of Parties on this climate change, been there in the Dubai, and they have their own new things. It was reported that, I was also there, it was reported that when they predicted things in 2007, the things are being accelerated right now in an unprecedented rate. So we are in a very serious situation right now. And what is this thing called the climate justice? Climate justice means, you know, it has 2 type of things. One is the spatial consequences. That means the intercontinental ones. The other thing is the temporal consequences. That is intergeneration things. So these are the two consequences, and we should have a climate justice forum in worldwide to address this issue. What is the scientific basis of this climate justice? You know, some countries are well below the carbon budget emission rate. The Sri Lanka, it's 1 ton. But the level is 2 tons to address the climate change, going beyond the very dangerous level. That means 1.5% of centigrade compared to the pre-industrial level, right? So, but we can't emit more. Why? The industrialized countries, they consumed it. They consumed our carbon quota without informing us, without giving our, that permission. So, we Sri Lanka, I as a minister, actually in 2008, we presented our case, what you call the carbon debt owed by the global north or the so-called industrialized countries. We are now having very serious debt problem, external debt problem there in Sri Lanka. But all these Paris Club people owe debt to us. You know why? They somehow robbed our carbon, our carbon, this thing, without informing us, without giving sanction from us. So we are in the rightful position to ask these countries to pay us for their carbon debts, right? India is presenting their case, Sri Lanka is presenting their case, saying that these Western countries, especially there was one called British Raj, they exploited our material things, they exploited our labor and other things, so they have to pay, right? And Shashi Tharoor wrote a brilliant book about Inglorious Empire, right? Saying that the UK alone exploited 34 trillion from India and asking for a one pound. But British government didn't hear these things. I don't think that they are not going to even apologize to the Indians, right? But the thing is that they owed huge amount of carbon debt to us. So it is the right time to Global South to have a kind of a forum to fight against this injustice, right? That's why Sri Lanka has proposed a climate justice forum there in the UN. So I think India and other countries must join this forum to ask these so-called industrialized countries, because of their emission, because of their development, we are suffering. We are day by day, we are suffering. The poor countries, poor communities, the tribal areas, and also the poor island nations, they are suffering. So entire civilizations will be vanished, will be going under sea within next 2-3 decades time. So there should be a climate justice forum in the world to address this climate change event in an intercontinental manner. So this is my argument. I think I must thank the Mizoram University to give me that opportunity to address these people, your students and others, and I thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your nice talk. To sum up his talk, let me tell you in one sentence. We all know that to every action, there is equal and opposite reactions. This is true. You see, our actions are in the form of releasing carbon dioxide, NOx, SOx, etc., due to burning of fossil fuel, to meet the requirement of urbanization, industrialization, motorization. And the equal and opposite reactions of the environment are in the form of acid rain, ozone hole, then greenhouse effect, sea level rise, submergence of many cities and towns, then change in oceanic current, change in agricultural pattern, rising drought, flood, etc. So it is high time, as he said, to think for a climate justice. And you all know the carbon footprint of different citizens of the world. Sir has already told that the carbon footprint of Sri Lanka is 1 ton per annum. Whereas, let me tell you, the carbon footprint of Indian is 4 ton per annum. And 4 ton, and world average is 6 ton per annum. And the carbon footprint of American is 28 tons per annum. You just imagine how many fold the carbon footprint of Americans are more than that of Indians. This speaks the standard of living of the people of developed and developing countries. So what is necessary to give climate justice? We have to think how to reduce the carbon dioxide level of the atmosphere by adopting different measures, and mostly this should be done by the developed countries. And for your information, if you see the 10 top carbon dioxide emitters of the world, then America stands first. America discards 25% of the total carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, whereas the population of America is just 230 million. That means 1/4 of carbon dioxide is emitted by America. And China, 20%, population is also around 20%. India, population is 20%, whereas the carbon dioxide emission of India is just 4%. So this is most important, sir. Climate justice, this forum, you have told, it will be a bold initiative, needs to be taken up by the South Asian countries, because we have to fight with the developed countries because they are emitting large amount of carbon dioxide, and whereas the people of developing and less developed countries are the worst sufferer. With this, the technical session 1 is over. I am very much thankful to the 3 speakers. They have delivered very good talk, and we have all enjoyed their talk, and this will be highly helpful, not from academic point of view, but also future research point of view. I am also thankful to the other chairman, although he is right now not present, Professor O.P. Tripathi, and also the rapporteur. He has recorded all the proceedings of this session, and I hope the rapporteur will submit it to the convener of this conference, and at the during the valedictory section, it will be discussed, and we will come out with some recommendations, and it will be sent to the government and other government officials and other agencies who are at the helm of the affair. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sorry, my voice is broken. Thank you, sir. Thank you for hosting this wonderful session for day 1 inaugural. Now it's time for lunch. So I request all the resource persons, delegates, and scholars to attend the lunch outside. The lunch is ready. So enjoy your hot lunch now. And we will be back on 2:30 for the next session.
With me, Professor Devesh Walia, Dean, School of Human and Environmental Sciences, NEHU, is chairing the session and is also the first speaker of this session. And we have Dr. T. Narendra from CSIR CDRI Lucknow as the second speaker. And I think we have one more speaker from the previous session, Dr. Sampum from Rajiv Gandhi University, Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh. So since we have to keep time and we have the cultural program lined up after this session, and we have 3 invited lectures, and we have 2 oral presentations as well. So straight away, I invite the first speaker of this session, Professor Devesh Walia. He is currently Professor and Head, Department of Geology, NEHU. And he did his MTech in Applied Geology and PhD in Geological Sciences. And he has more than 33 years of academic and research experience, and he has guided 7 students for PhD, and 5 are currently registered with him. And Professor Walia is on the advisory group of large number of associations like Water Resources Treaty 2019. Then Dr. Walia has successfully completed a number of research projects from government agencies of India as well as other agencies. With this brief introduction, I invite Professor Walia to start his talk. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see you all after such a good lunch. And probably if some people are outside, they can come, you can call them anytime they want, they can join in. So since morning, we have heard some very, very important lectures, some very important aspects dealing with climate change, dealing with our life. So dear friends, this topic of the international conference is very, very apt. This is very, very important for all of us to understand that as the climate is changing, we are entering into the era wherein more and more stress on our life is going to build up. So just to take you along, just to tell you that the place where we are living is not evolved in a short period of time. It has been there since millions of years. So we need not be perturbed, we need not be disturbed. That's what is the first message. Whatever I am going to say, take it very, very clearly. Second important thing is that whatever we are doing, whatever we are getting, whatever we are churning, everything is coming out of this earth only. So when we are getting so many things, so many good things, like we know that when the earth was formed, there was no oxygen, there was only carbon dioxide. Slowly, carbon dioxide has gone down and the oxygen has come. So you know that the earth has got everything to heal, everything to take care of. But if you are not able to manage the resources properly, probably we will be able to face the atrocities. We know that there are number of natural hazards are there, and if these natural hazards, they do occur, then at times they cross their boundaries, and then at times even they bring in floods and all. And once they bring in floods and all, they create problems. Now, at the same time, we also know that, especially in the low human development regions, whenever any natural hazard strikes, it brings in lot of damages. Not only the damages, but it kills maximum number of people. It means the low human index areas need to be worked out all over the globe, and we need to be little cautious of also about all these things. At the same time, it has also seen the areas which are more populated, which has got more population, they do also face lot of more hazards turning into the disaster. And as they get turned into the disaster, the life is at stake, so we need to take care of that also. So remember, these earth processes, they are not in our control. They do occur with the earth system. We know that we are living on the top of the earth only, earth surface. Beneath the earth, lot of activities are there which are not known to us. So as these earth processes are there, they do keep on occurring, they keep on disturbing lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and all these processes. But once such actions, they occur, they impact the human element, then only they become the disaster. It means, as I told you, that the natural processes, they are bound to take place, but once these processes, they are there in a place where human element is there, they become more impactful, or they become hazardous, or hazardous elements, they become the disaster. It means that if landslide occurs in Himalayan region, it will not have any impact until unless those landslide areas fall onto the human, or if flooding occurs, and because of the flooding, the river passes through the natural levee, and once it floods the area, if human habitation is there, then only it is harmful. Otherwise, it is not. So, if any places human elements are getting disturbed, those areas only supposed to be taken care of. We know that as the time is passing by, the population in different areas are increasing. As the population is increasing, hence those people, those who are residing in the areas which were not disaster prone, or there were only some hazards, low magnitude hazards were there. But as the population is increasing, more and more population is getting hyper concentrated in the areas, in a specific areas, specific cities. Especially cities are supposed to be the provider of jobs and other things. So they become more hyper concentrated. And as the hyper concentration increases, the vulnerability of the same area goes on increasing. It means if, say in Mizoram, around 15 years back, if earthquake would have come, its impact, or now if it comes, its impact, you know that it will be definitely more. Same way for 1897 earthquake, 1897 12th June, when the earthquake struck the Shillong Plateau, we have calculated that now if the earthquake comes with the same intensity, same magnitude, the damage will be tremendous, means many-fold more. So that's what is important for all of us to understand, that as time passes, the vulnerability of the same area increases. Now, by now, you all, along with me, have understood that there is no control on the earth processes. At the same time, there is no control on the population increase. All right, both are beyond our control, because I can control population from my angle, but I cannot say all the population to control. Although some of the countries have processed it and they failed, country like China too. So to reduce its impact, we need to carry out the scientific study of each and every natural hazard. Once we are doing it scientifically, then accordingly we need to have some building practices so that we are able to reduce the impact. And once the building practice is there, the systematic study is there, still we need to inform the people. The people need to be informed that in the event of, say, cyclone, in the event of cyclone, you need to leave the house. Around 10 years back, when the cyclone came in Odisha, coastal area of Odisha, the people were not ready to leave the houses, and around 10,000 people, they died in 1999. When the cyclone comes, and the people are advised to leave their houses because they know that cyclone is going to be there for 7 days, 8 days effect. After that, they can come back to their houses. So they left. Only one person lost his life. So that's what is the importance of knowledge transferred, scientific information transferred to the people, that these hazards, they are short-lived. Within say, if the earthquake is there, it may be there for 1 minute. If the landslide is there, may be there for some days. If the cyclone is there, maximum of 7-8 days. If the flood is there, maximum of 2-3 weeks. So if they know that only that is the residence time of the hazard becoming the disaster, only that phase they have to safeguard. And once they have safeguarded their life, livelihood, property, everything is saved. But after that also, if such incidents occurs, we need to plan, and there is a need to have the management plan or hazard response scenario is very, very important. We know that in any area, the disaster risk assessment is very, very important. By now, we know that, say, if we are sitting in this room, we must know that what sort of hazards may occur in this room. We know that this is an earthquake-prone area. We know that this is very close to, say, heavy rainfall, or such things we know. So the moment we know that what are the hazards, and if that hazard comes, what is the vulnerability? If such earthquake comes, so this room is much more vulnerable than outside any other room, because more number of people are here. So once we know the hazard, once we know the vulnerability, we can definitely develop the capacity. We know that in this room, 100 people may come. So there should be rooms, there should be exits to cater to the requirement of 100 people so that they are able to move out. All right. So there is a proper exit sign, proper system is to be there, so that the people, in place of, say, getting panic, they just move very, very nicely, very, very easily out of the place. So that's what is very, very important for all of us to understand. Then calculating, like we got since morning, we got number of opinions about different, very, very important aspects. So we need to calculate them, we need to know them, that as per the hazard, what is the probability of occurring, like say water shortage or the quality of water, potable water, we know. So we must know what is the probability. It is not that all over India the water is going to be shortage. We know that at Meghalaya, at some places there is excessive water is there, or even in Assam also. We know that in the season, during the rainy season, all over India excessive water is there. So we know that seasonal variation is also there. We know that there are lot many areas where even flooding is also taking place. So all such things are known. So the probability as well as the severity is supposed to be understood. Once these two factors are known all over the globe, all over the India, or all over the region, or within the Mizoram University, once we know, it is not difficult for us to move further, and we can calculate the exposure, we can know the vulnerability, we can definitely build the capacity. Like if there is a chances of landslide in any area, we know that this area is prone to landslide, and our capacity by way of some JCBs and all, they are ready. And during the seasonality is there of the landslide, during that time those JCBs are placed in a landslide prone area. It is not difficult. The moment landslide occurs, you clear it. It is a hazard, remain hazard, and it has not turned into the disaster. So that's what it is. I don't know why. I think time, I don't know how much time I started, but it's okay. So for this, we need to find out the tools. There are various tools are there. We need to analyze the hazard each area wise. We have to map, as I told, we need to have the profile of the area and seasonal calendar, that when which type of hazard may occur, as well as the hazard matrix is there. But because if once hazard occurs, say earthquake occurs, it may bring in flood, it may bring in landslide, it may bring in some other flooding, some other things also. So there is a hazard matrix, means cascade effect of hazards are supposed to be known. Then there is a vulnerability assessment tools are there. And these tools will tell us to know how vulnerable any area is, how severe to the damage any area is. And similarly, we can find out the resource assessment. Resource assessment is indirectly the capacity building. Once you have built in the capacity, say if the earthquake of 8+ magnitude comes, any capacity won't work. But if the earthquake of 6+ magnitude comes, our building structures, some of the policies, some of the plans may work, and we'll be able to resolve it. All right. So that's how we need to know that what are the various resources are there, and to help such resources, there is India Disaster Knowledge Network. There is a system which is working at the same time through UNDP. All the vulnerability atlas or the various informations about the various hazards are placed there, and India Disaster Resource Network is also there to help understand our resources. So just to tell you something about vulnerability assessment, you can know that vulnerable population, and definitely you will need to know the vulnerable infrastructure. It means when the hazard has not become the disaster, during that time you know that how many women are there in this area, so that whether they'll be able to save their life or not. What is the population of youth in any area, because they are providing the strength in the locality, or how many children are there, or how many elderlies are there. So accordingly, you can find out the vulnerable population. And once you know the vulnerable population, even we have seen that the people living below the poverty line, they are impacted more. So those things also, because they are hand-to-mouth earners in any locality. Once we know any locality, definitely we will be able to know. And we know that vulnerable population, and at the same time, we can know the vulnerable infrastructure also. On the basis of this, the government of India has found the most vulnerable cities in India, and Aizawl is one of them. Remember, Aizawl is one of the most vulnerable cities. All right, that data I am not sharing right now, but it is one of the most vulnerable cities. So you have to be more cautious as compared to the other regions. Capacity development framework is of great importance, because the hazard becoming disaster is not a small event, it is a big event. All right. So it is not a matter of one group, say only MZU is able to carry out the work. It is a group of multi-dimensional, multi-level, multi-sectorial group is there which is required to take care of health. So just to give you the example, how you are going to deal with the earthquake. All right, this is especially the vulnerability assessment with reference to the earthquakes. So once you know that the risk which is equivalent to hazard, vulnerability and exposure, so you know that the earthquake, what it does, it shakes the ground. So it shakes the ground, so there may be ground shaking. Because of the shaking, there may be some hard rocks may be there, there may be some medium soil may be there, there may be soft soil will be there. So all the area will act differently depending upon their such characteristics. At the same time, the collateral, like because of the building, if the sand is compressed, so it may be liquefied and the building may fail. So all those things also need to be understood, so that you know the impact of the hazard. Same way you can know the exposure, that residence, office and commercial areas or floor space index means how much is the beam and how much is the area beneath it, so that what are the chances of beam failure. All right, whether say I showed here, because whether internally in the structure wise whether this beam is supported or not, as a person you also don't know, I also don't know. So but if the earthquake comes, this beam may be the failure. So that's what these exposure and the floor space index is supposed to be known. Same way vulnerability, what are the life-threatening factors or economic life factors are there, so that all these things are supposed to be known. Now, as I'm talking with reference to the earthquake, just I want to tell you that these earthquakes, they have been occurring in this area because of the shortening of the Indian plate. It is moving, and after collision with the Eurasian plate, because of the extension in the Carlsberg Ridge in the Indian Ocean, whole of this region is moving. And this, in the past 1,000 years or so, in the past 70 million years, it has moved to around 1,000 kilometers or so. So it has all collided, and the region is very, very active. So just with reference to the earthquake, I want to tell you that this is very active. And as this shortening is there, as the whole of the Indian mass is moving towards the Eurasian plate, as we move further, it can't move beyond the North Pole. So I'm not going into the intricacies. But as it is moving, it cannot stop. Means you can understand that if a big vehicle is moving, it cannot put brakes so easily, or it cannot put brake at all also. So same way, this Indian mass is moving. So this whole area is still active, and still such shortenings are there. There have been cases where in Kaifan, Saitwal and all, there have been many earthquakes, and such studies will help understanding. Even some international level, some studies are there that what is the reason, what is happening if the Indian plate collides with the Eurasian plate. And it has been seen that because of such collision, because if two things collide, on the surface they are colliding, but beneath there is a molten material is there. So that molten material is flowing out in the directions what are shown. And as they flow out, because of this flowing out, even the surface also gets rotated. That's why the eastern Himalayan syntaxis is there, and whole of the region is rotated. Because of these impacts, there have been many earthquakes in the area. And some of the examples are like in the Bhuj 2001, 26 January, there has been earthquake. Although 15th August in 1950, there has been earthquake, major earthquake in the Upper Assam also. So by chance, 26 January and 15th August are two dates which are very important with reference to India also. But these are the times where such things have happened. One of the most disastrous earthquake is supposed to be Muzaffarabad in 2005. This earthquake was there, with a lot of damages have occurred. 1897 earthquake I referred, wherein the house of the Governor General was shattered into pieces, along with the All Saints Church. So you can imagine that during that time, so much of destruction has occurred. Even in the recent past, there have been earthquake in 2011 in Sikkim, 2015, 25th April at Nepal, and lot of such damages do occur. Even in 2021, 26th April, this is a photograph of a five-star hotel, Taj Vivanta. So even the five-star hotels don't think that money can bring in stability. As I told you that lower index, it may face the atrocities more. But even the best of the hotels constructed, if some of you go to Guwahati, you can see there is a big crack also developed therein. In the past, there are lot many shallow focus earthquakes are representative of whatever deeper structure have been carrying out. So remember, even a small earthquake can destroy the whole region. That's what is of importance for all of us to understand. This slide is slightly important for all those who are sitting in this room. Normally what happens that our perception of risk, all right, if I'll tell you that just now outside there is some landslide is there, I'll not sit in the room. I want to go and see the landslide because I don't believe that if the landslide is there, there may be some more landslide zone may be there which may also fall on me. So that's what normally there is a pitfall in the human response and perception of the gap. Like I told you that when in 1999 or before that when there used to be cyclone, people used to think that somehow I'll save during the cyclone and I'll remain safe. This government or these scientists are just saying something useless thing. Like in the daytime, something was told to you by Mishra, Dr. Mishra sir and all. You may listen to it, but you may not act as per it. Why? Because you don't foresee, you may foresee birthday party and marriage anniversary celebration and all. But those things which you have not seen in your life, you don't foresee the risk. So that's what is the biggest thing. And you still, even if somebody tells you, leave your house, there is something disastrous thing is going to occur, you still think that whether he is right or wrong, like that, as if you become the more knowledgeable, intelligent person. If in the families, which is very common, if you will fall sick, somebody will say that take this medicine. We also do same way. Don't think that you are only doing. I'll say take this medicine, behaving as if I have become a doctor. Actually, there is a doctor. We need to know the advice and we need to follow it, because these things, as per especially our culture, they are very common. We take it things very for granted. So we always underestimate. And because of this, if my shoes are worn down, means they are slippery, still I'll wear. Think one more day, let me wear. And once I'll slip 2-3 times also, but next day again I'll wear. So that's what is the thing that we don't perceive the gap. Remember one more thing, these 2-3 slides are of importance. Don't think that when any disaster will strike, God will come to save you. There have been example when the landslide zone was there. Although examples are here also, I could have given Sonapur and all. So the people think that in the dream, some God came and he said that, okay, now on you construct the road, it won't be slided down. But after 40 years also, the land is still sliding down. Same way, some people said in Shimla that construct the Lord Shiva temple, the land will become stabilized. And when this time there was a cloud burst, the temple, you can see that what happened to the temple. Or in Kedarnath and all, whatever things have happened, or wherever. So don't leave for the right time to act. The time is to act now. So that's what is very, very important. There are various lessons are there which we need to learn. Means that is what is a scientific, logical thing. All right. If you can't do anything, you have to leave it. That sometime something. But if you can do it, one should do it. And I'll just pass through quickly some of the things. Recently, we have seen earthquake or Emory Hospital in Calcutta, there was a fire, or in COVID-19 cases are there. So just to tell you that in the recent past, we have seen so many things happening, and all the houses, all the villages were cleaned. I don't know how many of you have been to Bhuj and all. You'll see that everything got cleaned. Everything is rebuilt in the past 22, 23 years because they were so impactful. So there are a lot of lessons are supposed to be learned, which especially in places like Mizoram and Meghalaya and these places, we shouldn't follow them. Same way, I'll not go into this, that what sort of building should be constructed and all. Same way in the AMRI hospital, Calcutta, there was a fire. The fire broke out. And because of that, it is a hospital to provide the support. And Emory means, actually this is the 108 service started with this hospital only. All right, so they were the ones. And they did it. So there was sufficient amount of support given in the hospital, but people were not knowing it, how to use it. The nurses, the doctors, nobody knew. And everybody started rushing out because of the suffocation. So that's what, if you have got some facility, the people, like if scientists have moved ahead, that information has to be translated to the common people also. Otherwise, it will remain part of the books also, only. So COVID-19 also, we have seen how the things were managed, how the things went on, and we knew a lot many things, but still we were not able to use those facilities. And now looking at our life, especially the health system, has changed a lot. So that's what, there are lot many things are there, and we need to rethink whatever facilities we have. That's what I said, that our resources need to be mapped so we can move forward. The most important thing for all of us, again, that whatever has been, I have been telling, other than the anthropogenic intervention, these things have been occurring. So your role as a community, as an individual, as a society, and then only you can force the government to take up the necessary steps. So in India, disasters are becoming more common. Some of the slides will come little later also. So the risks are rapidly increasing because we have moved from a stabilized state to a critical, to a very strategic and critical stage. So the time to act is now. That's what is important, and whatever experiences are there supposed to be shared. All right. One important thing which I find Mizoram as one of the exemplary things, because the people need to know their own. We know that through YMAs and all, the population is so much intertwined that any small thing you are able to deal it very, very calmly, very, very in a composed manner. So you need to learn your own safety and even safety of the trapped neighbors. So the public awareness and community participation leads to less vulnerability and enhanced resilience to disaster. That's what is the main aim of today's talk also. One more thing. Again, we need to learn from the development taking place in Mizoram. Don't think that development brings in more disasters. Actually, development in a right perspective doesn't bring in the disaster. It prevents the disaster, but it has to be in a proper manner. Means there is no shortcut. So that's what is again important. And in this era, the prevention, mitigation, and preparedness is more important, and accordingly, Government of India is giving more focus on it so that we are able to have disaster risk mitigation measures. There are some other things, because these disasters or these hazards, they don't occur at a new place. They normally occur at the same place. So if you have located the hotspots, we know that how the system is changing. Once we know, we understand the process of triggering, probably we'll be able to have less impact. At the same time, we can reduce its impact if we are prepared. We know that there is a seasonality is there. So during the season, if some of the areas, they get disconnected by the road, so before that season, that rainy season to come, if the all emergency kits, supplies are already there with them, if the road connection is cut off for 1 week, 10 days, there is nothing much to worry about for the population living there. So that's what is very, very important. Piling and all other things are there. Above all, whatever things are happening, climate is again adding up to more and more complications. All right. So the climate is bringing in more complication. That's what is very, very important for us to understand. And we need to also know that what can be the contribution of individuals. Like I said, simply, climate is adding up. But what should be your role is very, very important for you all to understand, so that we consider it to be livable. We know that for a very long time, the climate change has been a debatable topic. But now, not only the scientists, but even the common people also understand the climate change is there. We were also debating. So around last year, we did a research that from the last 100 years, how much temperature at Shillong has changed. So we got all the data and all, and we analyzed, just to tell you without taking much time, we analyzed that in the past 100 years, the temperature change is 0.6 degrees centigrade. All right. Now, if some of you know about the Shillong, during the October, there used to be the freezing of water. If the tank is there outside, in October month only, and there is no such freezing now. So we were very surprised that why only 0.6, as per the data, 0.6 degrees centigrade in the last 100 years it is coming. So we analyzed all the research work done. Then we found that if the temperature changes 0.3 degrees centigrade in a century, then the human and plants and everything adopts to it. All right. And so, but that's what is one thing. But second thing is, if the change is 0.6 degrees centigrade, the impact is huge. The impact is not less. So I must understand that if more change will be there, the more impact is inevitable. That's what is very, very important for us to understand. And whatever identifiable change is there, that's what is climate change is there. Remember, with reference to climate change, India is considered to be most vulnerable country, followed by Pakistan, Philippines, Bangladesh, as per the HSBC report. So we are, by chance, we all are, most of us are here. So we must understand that we are the most, say, at the maximum risk. We are there. So we have to take care of it. And that's why our preparedness, our response, our mitigation has to be precisely conceptualized. Otherwise, we'll be, as told to you in the morning, otherwise we will start lacking water shortage, we may start lacking food grains, we will start lacking good land for many important purposes. So before that time comes, we need to take care of it. So our society needs to be climate resilient. For this, we need to be reflective, so that we need to learn very quickly from our past experiences that how the water gets depleted, or we need to be very robust so that our infrastructure, because if in the atmosphere less water will be there, so the same concrete which is there in the present day time, it may lose its strength. So it needs to be robust with reference to the changing climatic pattern. We need to be forward thinking, flexible, adaptation based. Above all, which we have been missing, we are not utilizing the nature based solutions. We are not using the traditional knowledge also. We think that whatever experience earned by our elder generations, that is the experience, and now the time has changed. It is not like that. It is the same earth over which you are living. So their experiences are to be incorporated, and that's what terminology says also, nature-based solutions, so that we find the solution. Like in the morning, for the pest management, the plant-based solutions are there. So same way, we need to find solutions from the system which is there. And especially in India, we have been living very close to nature. As we have been living very close to nature, we have understood, we have developed various literatures, various scientific documents, but only thing is we need to again resurface them and again use them, and it is government is using in the name of India knowledge system. So the risk from the climate change are diverse. It is don't limit it, because say I told gave you example of the flood or various hazards, but it is diverse. What it eats up, we don't know. So although we know that climate is changing naturally also, and it is changing because of the anthropogenic factors also. So we need to evaluate both the factors and need not be panic about any of the situation, because everything is dependent upon our action. But the climate change, it is a global issue. It means if we think of the changing climates, its impact in India, don't think that the similar impact will not be there in Bangladesh. Or if it is Nepal, the similar impact will not be there on India because of the changing climatic conditions in Nepal. So all these countries are interrelated. So it cannot be controlled by one of the countries. So that's why there has been international policies and various processes are there which are developed and which are working. Even the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is there. It has given so that various reports which are working, and we need to take care of the disaster risk, especially in the mountainous regions, because of the changing climate. Because as mountainous regions are already eco-sensitive, zones are there, already sensitive. If the climate change will further increase their sensitivity to various factors. There has been various COPs, and they are there. Now the net target is to reduce the temperature below 1.5 degrees centigrade. Earlier it was considered to be 2 degrees centigrade. By such studies, it is found that 2 degrees is too much. If 1.5 degree also is Earth is able to, or if the countries are able to take care of it, it is good enough. So I think I have come towards the end only. So there are various national climate action plan is there. All those things are there, but most important, don't think that the government is not thinking about it. The PM's agenda, 10-point agenda for disaster risk reduction, it is given in 2015. And since that, the government of India is working on various aspects related to disaster risk resilience. And you will see that, say, whatever factor is coming to your mind, I'll give you time, but I don't want to spend time. If you think all the points are taken care of, if you think that there is a lack of good researchers or good people to know about the climate change, they have made a inter-university institutional network. All over India it is there, wherein all the universities, all the institutions are member, and those who are doing research in this, their names are there. You can choose them, you can select them, you can call it to them. All their expenditures are borne by the government of India. This is already, it is working, already it is in place. So, like, that is the agenda 6. Develop a network of universities to work on disaster-related issues. So all they are giving, the government of India is giving full support. Even in the 16th Finance Commission, they have kept more than 50,000 crores to cater to all the states, especially located in the northeastern part. So all such things are there. You can go through it. You can understand. So especially in the northeastern region or in India, in 1 year we spend around 9.8 billion or 65,000 crore rupees to cater to the emergency services after the impact of any of the hazards. So we must save that money and use it for our purposes. Just to tell you, again, I'll go a little past some of the case studies, because in the past, in the northeastern region, which is very, very sensitive, we have seen that in Dhemaji district, there has been flooding. The water never receded. In West Kamang, Arunachal Pradesh, there has been lot of impact. The drying up of the springs and all in the Bokha area in Nagaland, Chuntang area, Sikkim, there has been cloudburst. All such events are going to occur. So now, just to tell you the way forward, although whatever is there, I have been telling you, but the most important thing is that we need to carry out more research and in a wide-ranging areas and in-depth research, not only the superficial research now, so that we can understand the impact of the climate change. At the same time, the adaptation strategies are of importance, and the community-based disaster risk reduction plans and all these things are of importance, so that we are able to take action, so that we can take action before by knowing the past experiences and by appreciation of the risk in any area whenever we are living. All right, so with this, plenty to be worried about, but take one step today so that you are able to take the step forward, so that you are able to cater to the requirements of the climate risk management or disaster risk management. So you need not be scared, but you need to be prepared for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for beautifully summarizing the disaster risk assessment strategies. Session. Dr. T. Narendra. Dr. T. Narendra is Chief Scientist and Professor at Academy of CSIR at CSIR Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow. He did his PhD in Organic Chemistry with specialization in Phytochemistry and Natural Products from Kakatiya University. And he is recipient of ISCB 2020 Award for Excellence in Drug Research by Indian Society of Chemists and Biologists. I request Tanpuya to just organize this collar mic and all that for sir in the meantime. Then Dr. Mridula Kambo's Award for Drugs, Diagnostics, Vaccines and Related Basic Research. He is the recipient of CDRI Incentive Award for Best Publication in the year 2008, 12, 14, 15, 18 and 22. And he is the group leader for transfer of 3 technologies recently. One is that is chabulinic acid enriched fraction of a phytopharmaceutical drug for the management of benign prostate hyperplasia, that is commercialized and sold to a company that is Lumen Marketing Chennai. Then one more formulation that is commercialized and the technology transferred to a company called Farmenza Herbal Private Limited, Gujarat. And then one herbal pharmaceutical preparation for the treatment of diabetes and dyslipidemia to the technology transfer to TVC Life Sciences, Mumbai. So with this brief introduction, I invite Dr. Narendra to start his presentation.
Very good afternoon. Can you hear you? Can you hear? Very good afternoon. First of all, I'm very thankful to Dr. Mishra and Dr. Rambir Singh for inviting me to this university to deliver a talk and to share our work here. And I also thank for kind words of introduction. So I'm very happy this organizing committee, especially this local organizing committee, we have comfortable stay. So before lunch, we heard very good lectures, especially from Dr. Kamlakar Tripathi. During his lecture, he told how these environmental changes are affecting the health conditions. We are getting a lot of diseases like various dreadful diseases, cancer, diabetes, dyslipidemia. So many diseases we are getting because of this mismanagement of natural resources and climate change, environmental factors. And other speaker, Dr. Ray, he mentioned about how this natural medicinal plant can help.
It's fine, sir. Sound is good.
So how this plant-derived things can control the pest management. Similarly, Dr. Devesh also mentioned how this nature is having healing power. You can see here, nature can give food, shelter, as well as medicine, and also it gives inspiration to discoveries and inventions. For example, what we have Indian medicinal system, what we have Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, homeopathy. All these medical systems, they use natural resources. They use plant products, they use animal products, they use microbes, they use sea animals for the products which can have health benefits. These are very good examples, very useful compounds isolated from the plants, drugs. These are the drugs for cancer treatment. Paclitaxel, Taxol, commonly known, camptothecin, and vincristine. So these are the wonderful drugs for the cancer treatment. So these are derived from the plant sources. Plants compounds not only developed as a drugs, they can serve as a template to make a synthetic drug. For example, if you see quinine isolated from the bark of cinchona bark, and which is a very potent anti-malarial agent. On that basis, pharmaceutical companies, they made a compound chloroquine. Chloroquine is a very good anti-malarial agent. Now, we have a problem. Chloroquine resistance is there. Even sometimes chloroquine doesn't work. So nature has given another product, artemisinin. Artemisinin is again a natural product isolated from the plant, Artemisia annua. And this was a discovery from the Chinese group, and Yu has been awarded Nobel Prize in the year 2015 for this discovery. So again, this compound is a very complex molecule, synthesizing very difficult, and some synthetic groups, they prepared another compound which can act as a antimalarial agent similar to this artemisinin. So now, CDRI is a drug discovery institute. So our institute has developed around 11 drugs out of 16 drugs developed in India. So our lab is working on that area. So we are working in the area of medicinal plants. We are exploring medicinal plants for various diseases. As a part of that, we are working on the plant Terminalia chebula. Is a very well-known Indian medicinal plant which has been used in Ayurveda. And you all know, very commonly sold in market, Triphala. Triphala is the constituent of 3 fruits. The Terminalia chebula is one of the constituent of that Triphala formulation. So we used fruits. Here we are discussing about natural resource management. So if you use roots, barks, it's not like proper. You are killing that plant. So if you have to work the parts like fruits is a renewable source. You can work on leaves, that's also renewable source. So we also keep this mind when we work on, take up any research problem. So here we have started work on the fruits, and again, this Ayurveda also uses fruits. And this is Dr. Tripti, she is a doctoral student. She has selected some compounds, 4 compounds, and as a part of her doctoral work. And one of the major compounds is chebulinic acid. Chebulinic acid she has listed in large quantity. And after that, second major compound was ellagic acid, and these 2, chebulagic acid, gallic acid, minor compounds. So we searched literature about this compound. So there are a lot of various biological activities have been reported for this compound. And what we have done, so we have not submitted to these areas. We have submitted this sample to screen some other areas. We have various biological groups in our institute. So this compound has screened for various biological activities and found out very beneficial effect for the prostate management. So generally, I will tell you about that disease. What is the disease that prostate, BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia? I will tell you that in later slides. So going with this pure compound is very difficult as well as expensive. So for that, what we have done, we developed an enriched fraction. We made ethanolic extract like you people. We make decoction with tea. And if you evaporate that water, it will be extract. Like that, here we used alcohol to make extract. From that, we have done one more step to get the enriched fraction, chebulinic acid enriched fraction. If you take 1 kg of material, we will get 35 to 40 grams of chebulinic acid enriched fraction, in which that chebulinic acid concentration will be more than 50%. Then, these samples we purchased in local market, Lucknow, and we are trying to develop a product, like a nutraceutical product or phytopharma product. So you have to see that material availability, it is available all over the India, most of the states, it is available. For that, we procured the sample from different states, and we have monitored the HPLC, whether this compound is available in those areas. Why? Because this constants varies from the seasonal variation is there, geographical variation is there. So we procured from 6 states, and again, that process, again, we repeated with all the 6 state samples, and we could get highly reproducible result with this plant extracts and fractions. So this is a HPLC profile of this samples. You can see all are very similar. Chebulinic acid appears to be major compound, ellagic acid is second major compound, and these 2 are minor compounds. And morning, Dr. Tripathi mentioned, like heavy metals, you have to see. Heavy metals damage liver, kidney, several problems. So as per when you are developing a product, you have to see there should be within the regulatory limits. There are guidelines are there, how much heavy metal should be there, how much aflatoxin concentration, pesticides. So we have got the data of this enriched fraction from various our sister organizations, and all these parameters are within the regulatory limits. So then that's one step we cleared as we are meeting our regulatory limits. So this is a disease what we are working. We are trying to develop a product for the management of BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. This is a very common problem in old age people, especially after 50, it starts. So what is the main problem they face? They will not be able to clear this urine from the urinary bladder. Because of that, so that urinary tract infections happens, and there will be pain in prostate. So these are the common problems, those who face, those who suffer with the disease. So if you see this normal prostate, and that's a diseased prostate. So because of enlargement that compresses the urethra, because of that, the bladder cannot clear the urine, and that leads to several other complications. So the main reason for this BPH development is testosterone is highly converted into dihydrotestosterone. If you stop the dihydrotestosterone conversion, so that this disease can be stopped or you can prevent. So there are marketed drugs available in the market, like 5-alpha reductases. They stop this process, testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. And there are some drugs which can, they are muscle relaxants. And there are few drugs where that inflammation, which stops inflammation. But they have some side effects. For example, if you see 5-alpha reductase inhibitors, they are steroids. So they interfere the natural hormones of the patient, and because of that, that patient will get some sexual disorders. And if you, in the case of 5-alpha-1 blockers, so they are basically antihypertensive drugs. So whenever that patient takes, sometimes that blood pressure lowers. That leads to several complications. And in case of steroids, if it is the patient is diabetic, we cannot give this 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. If patient is a kidney patient, so we cannot give. So there are several limitations with these drugs. So this is a model, actually one of my collaborators, Dr. Monica, she is an endocrinology scientist. So she is having a model. We tested our compound as well as chibulinic acid enriched fraction. So the model is, she will take 3 groups of animals. Each group consists of 5 animals. One group, control group, and second group, they remove the testes to stop the testosterone production. And by surgery, after recovering from surgery, she will give high concentration of testosterone, so that will induce the BPH condition. And the third group, again, surgery has been done, and along with the testosterone, our test compound will be given, like chibulinic acid enriched fraction in our case. So that's the model. After 8 weeks treatment, 12 week treatments, they kill the animal, they sacrifice the animals, and they see the parameters. They will see the prostate weight index, and they also monitor the PSA levels, prostate specific antigen levels. Prostate, this is when you go for kidney function test, they will see creatinine. That's a marker compound. If your creatinine levels are more, that means your kidney is damaged. Like that, here PSA levels are more, that means you have prostate problem. Similarly, some histological studies she has done. So here, this is a just visual comparison of BPH-induced prostate weight, and this is a chibulinic acid enriched fraction at 100 milligram per kg body weight dose. So it is significantly decreasing the prostate weight index. So this is the same information, graphically I have given here. So if you see, this is a normal control group where that no testis has not been removed. And in this case, this is a BPH induced, that no testis has been removed and the testosterone has been injected. So here, in normal control group, that no prostate weight is 192.3. In case of BPH induced animal group, so it is increased to 342 after 4 weeks treatment. In case of 8 week treatment, it has further increased to 438.4. That means you can see control 192, and after 8 weeks, that prostate weight index increased to 430, more than double. After treatment with our chevulinic acid enriched fraction, you can see CA enriched fraction, 4 weeks, it decreased the prostate weight index to 287.7, and after 8 week treatment, it has further gone down to 222. That means it is very close to that control group. It is bringing to natural normalcy. So this one aspect we confirm this compound is showing a beneficial effect for the BPH treatment. The other thing is PSA levels. This is a marker we use whenever you go for testing. So they will see this, they will go for this test, PSA level test. So in normal control group, the PSA level were 2.2 nanogram per ml. In that BPH induced animals, after 4 weeks, it has gone up to 5.69. After 8 weeks, it further increased to 7.629. So after treatment with our chevulinic acid enriched fraction, after 8 weeks, you can see 2.807. That means it's very close to normal control. So these studies also confirm this beneficial effect of the chevulinic acid enriched fraction. So histological studies also she has done. So here in a histological, normal control groups, that lumen areas will be big and this cell wall thickness will be less. When in a disease condition, BPH condition, that lumen areas will decrease and that cell wall thickness increases. That's a common thing. So in treated group, you can see after 8 weeks treatment with 100 milligram per kg body weight dose, so that lumen areas for the increased and cell wall thickness has been decreased. So this way, we confirm this chevulinic acid enriched fraction showing very beneficial effect for the treatment of BPH. Now, we are planning for human clinical studies. So you have to see, you are giving orally, whether that drug, whatever that compound you are giving, whatever that enriched fraction you are giving, whether that compound is stable or not. If it is stable orally, like we have so many acidic conditions, enzymes are there, so it will degrade. For that, we have done some simulated tests to see whether this compound, if you give orally, it will be stable, or it will reach the site, it will show the activity or not. So my colleague, Dr. Bhatta, is a pharmacy background, so he has expertise in this thing. So he has done with chevulinic acid, pure compound he has taken, and studied the stability in that stimulated gastric fluid, where that pH is 1.2, and as well as stimulated intestinal fluids, that pH is 6.8. So in both conditions, this compound appears to be stable, and it is safe. Then, when you are planning to do clinical trials in humans, first you have to test in animals. If it is safe in animals, then only you can go for human clinical trials. For that, we have a toxicology department. They do all these toxicity studies in animals, rats first, and after that, we go for rabbits. If it is safe, then it will be, we will be going for regulator. They will give permission to do human clinical trials. So here, he has tested this enriched fraction, 3 doses. Again, here he has taken male and female groups and tested in 3 doses, 1 gram and 3 grams and 5 grams. This is acute toxicity, means they give 1 dose, high dose, and they see they kill the animals after 15 days. Then they will see whether any organ damage happened or any side effect are there. This is a study, we call it acute toxicity. So in acute toxicity studies, this no, all animals are safe and survived. There was no toxicity. After that, so as per regulator, we have to do 90 days. Every day you have to give this test compound to animals for 90 days. And after 90 days, you kill the animals and you see the organs and also you see the biochemical changes in that animals. So here again, the male and female groups, 3 doses we have tested, 1 gram, 1.5 and 2 grams. And 90 days, after 90 days, the animals were sacrificed and we found safety of this enriched fraction in 90 days studies also. So up to 2 grams per kg body weight, this enriched fraction is safe. Now we have to prepare some tablets when you are trying for clinical studies. So you have to develop a composition, like what we take, tablets, capsules, different forms we will take. So my colleague Dr. Bhatta, he has prepared a tablet formulation with these excipients, and then we have to see whether when you are adding excipients, any drug changes are happening in the drug. So these studies is going on. So here whatever the tablets we prepared, so it will be studied higher temperature, like 40 degrees centigrade. We have to keep it for 6 months, and we have to analyze what is the active constant levels in that tablet, how much it is degrading. And and you have to give humidity also, like 75% as humidity and 40 degrees temperature, the tablets will be kept, and after 6 months, every 2-3 months, they will take sample and they will analyze the active constant concentration in that thing. So this work is going on. In addition to that, as I told you, before going to human clinical studies, we have to do studies in rabbits. As rats already we found safe, and now we are doing this work, we are doing at Vivo Biotech, Hyderabad, rabbits toxicity studies are going on. So this, after this, if we are successful with these stability studies and rabbit studies, we will be going for human clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Our plan is that after first phase 1, we will be trying to launch it as a nutraceutical product, and after completing phase 3 studies, we are going for a phytopharmaceutical product. So already we licensed this technology to company, human marketing company Chennai. So they are also funding, and this work is going in collaborative mode. So I thank all my collaborators. Drug development is a very big teamwork. So you can see how many collaborators are there. So formulation, pharmacokinetics, analytical chemistry, botany, all these people are involved. I thank all of them, and I especially thank my director and my sister institute directors. They helped to provide data, and CSR New Delhi for funding. Once again, I thank Dr. Mishra and Dr. Rambir for inviting me and allowing me to share this work in front of you. Thank you for patiently.
Thank you very much, sir, for his age-old clinician who is a practicing allopathic doctor. And maybe time will come where allopathic doctor after some time may be prescribing phytopharmaceutical drugs in time to come.
This is the urologist bread and butter, what is talking, my surgical discipline. Prostate is a complex issue. So when you innovate a drug, he already said phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it's a table to treatment technology from bedside bench to bedside. The problem would be here, we have a hormone responsible for the proliferation of the prostate. Once it is proliferated, there's a process of sustaining that proliferation. So there are the transcription factors in each and every cell which would make them to proliferate. And then there are the hydraulics problem in the bladder and the pressure to which, and there is autonomic nervous dysfunction. Bladder is a very complex, you ask a question in MD exam, MBBS exam, the physiology of micturition, candidate is going to lose? It's such a difficult question. So it's a coordinated. So you have to choose now what drug you have said already, and congratulations for this wonderful work.
Thank you.
This is related to suppression of testosterone. Primarily you have shown one component. Not necessarily testosterone could be an initiative part, could sustain it, and could be responsible for the malignancy, cancer you said. And that's the one area where we need to look at it. Probably this drug has a lot of potential to treat as an anti-cancer drug. The alpha reductase inhibitor, what you have been saying, is good because it would bring down PSA level. On contrary, we need two drugs. One which increases the forced contraction of the bladder to counteract the hydraulic. Second, which would relax the sphincter. We have two sphincter in the bladder, external sphincter, internal sphincter. Internal is autonomic. You cannot. External is, yes, you can. I'm in the lecture, I have an urge to go to the toilet, I can hold on it. It's a skeletal muscle. So what the third drug is important to make control of the bladder so that it can regenerate. Therefore, it is one of the drug. We use a combination of the two. Is the narrow or the total mass? What you have shown in the histology, taken the piece, is the intracellular. What is extracellular? Lumen, intraluminal. So these are the three components. It's a very long history. Any new molecule, it takes 10, 20, 35 years. When you launch it into the market and the patient consumes it, that's the final result.
We have to go long way.
Yeah,
Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And we are, as suggested, we are also working on the prostate cancer. So that aspect also, we are looking there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Tripathi, sir, for your very nice comments as a clinician. So thank you so much, sir, for your very nice and informative presentation. Thank you. So now I invite the third invited speaker for the session. Dr. Sumpam is from Rajiv Gandhi University, Arunachal Pradesh. He is currently Dean of two faculties, the Faculty of Life Sciences and Faculty of Agricultural Sciences. And he is a DBT, he was awarded DBT Associate Award for and DBT Overseas Fellowship Award by Government of India in 2014. And he has successfully supervised 9 doctoral students, 2 MPhil scholars, and over 70 master degree students. And he has published over 70 research papers in Journal of National and International Repute. So and he has got projects funded by various agencies of Government of India as well as from different other agencies in India, private agencies. And he has been a member of NAC peer review team to various colleges across India. So with this brief introduction, I invite Dr. Sumpam to start his presentation.
Thank you so much. So a very good afternoon, Mizoram University, and my greetings to all of you. No. So to begin with, first of all, I would like to thank Professor VP Mishra, sir, for considering my name as one of the resource person for today's international seminar, international conference on climate change and natural resources management for sustainable development. As mentioned, I'm the dean of 2 faculties, but to clear the doubt, I'm a student of botany. I'm not agriculturist, though I have been entrusted to look after the Faculty of Agricultural Sciences, both as coordinator and dean since its inception in 2020. So my topic will be agroforestry, a step towards sustainability. So when Professor Mishra sir contacted me, he mentioned that I should considered on some topic on sustainability. So I thought of like considering agroforestry as one of them. So what do you mean by agroforestry? It consists of like two words, agriculture and forestry. So it is a combination of agriculture and forestry to create more diverse, profitable, productive, healthy, and sustainable land use system. So it is a combination of trees, agricultural crops, and livestock, which is good for the environment, and this can be one of the very good approach towards sustainable development. In our part of the country, that is Arunachal Pradesh, we usually practiced jhum cultivation, traditional jhum cultivation. It is even prevalent today, but when there was a COVID and when everybody was suffering and there was a lockdown, so the agroforestry was a savior for all. Because during the lockdown, most of the commodities, there was shortage of most of the commodities, so they used to depend mostly on agroforestry. I mean the traditional agroforestry. Here I'm keeping agroforestry. Agroforestry, that means they will be using like modern technologies as well, but in our case, it is a traditional agroforestry. And most of the people living in that part of the country depends on agroforestry besides the jhum cultivation. So it is a harmonious blend of farming and environmental stewardship focused on addressing farming needs while fostering a balanced ecosystem. So it is a multi-species component system in agroforestry. I will not go in detail. So according to Combe in 1979, the main aspects of agroforestry systems are economic, ecology, and silvicultural. So these are the credits of agroforestry, and the source as I have taken is from TrustX Technologies. So these are the benefits of promoting agroforestry systems. So we all know the Agenda 2030 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have 17 goals, and if implemented properly, agroforestry can relate to 9 of its goals. With the number 1, SDG goal is no poverty, and that is one of the most relevant or this topic. Then SDG 2 is zero hunger, then good health and well-being, affordable clean energy, gender equality, because in most of the agroforestry, the farm is maintained by the women. So there is, I must say, we can maintain gender equality. There will be more participation of women in case of like adopting the agroforestry systems. Then we have decent work and economic growth. Then climate action through carbon sequestration. Then life on land and responsible consumption and production. So this is one of the main factors, improving farmers' economy. How? So proper market survey to know which plant species should be economically beneficial, and it should be selected to be included in agroforestry system. Then growing economically beneficial plants. Then proper marketing of underutilized local farm products by creating a market ecosystem. In our place, even I have seen those agroforesters, they have started like conserving the endangered and rare species in their agroforestry systems. So agroforestry systems provide us food, then medicine, then fruits, etc. So these are the firewoods gathered from agroforestry systems. Then selling of surplus production is very common. And these are some of the harvested farm products. But there are still challenges and constraints. These are the following challenges and constraints. There is limited access to modern farming equipment. Arunachal Pradesh, I'm talking only about Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal being located in a far-flung area, so it is really limited access. There is limited access to modern farming equipment. Then inadequate infrastructure like cold storage facilities. Then limited access of local products in the market. And due to this one, lack of storage facilities, now spoilage of the products from agroforestry systems. Poppy cultivation, Papyrus somniferum, is rampant in one of the districts in Arunachal Pradesh. So this poppy cultivation was found to be one of the main occupation in Namsai district of Arunachal Pradesh, and most of the youth are like addicted to this. So the government have identified those area, and they have now started like growing fruit trees and other crops in those poppy cultivated areas. So these are the steps to be taken. Although women are involved in value chains, ours is a patriarchal society, so most of the decisions are taken by male counterparts. So these are the things that although women are involved in value chains, their level of participation is constrained by cultural norms and lack of resources. Mechanisms to engage women in decision-making will help improve the adoption of agroforestry. As I have mentioned, ours is a patriarchal society, so most of the decision-making process is dependent on male. So creating a market ecosystem for local farm products, then targeted exchange services, and policy making. Then this is like a network chain of the farmer. So in Arunachal Pradesh, you can find this sort of like agroforestry. Like black cardamom is very much prevalent in these days, and people consider it very important because they sell their products in a very high rate also. Then growing colocasia under. Then converting, even the apple orchards are converted to this one agri-horticultural system. Then transforming Jhum land to arecanut-based system. Then community Jhum field interrupt district. So this is one of the very common form of agriculture in our home district. I am from this district only. So, but the time is changing because of the modernization and acculturation. Most of the people have abandoned the idea of this farming. So most of the people have now developed or realized the importance of agroforestry and its many benefits. So they have started like developing agroforestry in their home yard, as well as the Jhum land have been converted to agroforestry. So these are the multi-layered home garden systems. Then Livistona jenkinsiana. Then pineapple-based agroforestry system, cardamom grown. These are the different systems. And this is one of the very unique farming system in Arunachal Pradesh, that is paddy cum fish cultivation. And this cultivation is unique to one of the tribe of Arunachal Pradesh, that is Apatani tribe of Zero Valley of Lower Subansiri district. And this ecosystem is very unique, because of which the UNESCO have like put the valley in the World Heritage Site. So they have like proposed Zero Valley as one of the World Heritage Sites. So single species system are ecological deserts and not climate change resilient. The best strategy for climate change resilience seems to be one promoting multi-species combination, that is agroforestry. This was cited by Professor P.K. Ramachandran Nair. So with this, my presentation is over, and I think I'm on time. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Devesh to kindly sum up this lecture.
Yeah, you have given excellent presentation on agroforestry. Basically, we are single crop only we are there. So probably your suggestion in the present time is of great importance. If anybody wants to know something more about the cropping system, about agroforestry, sitting in the audience, because you got an excellent opportunity to interact. If any one of you say something, so what happens that these days, whatever, either agriculture or forestry, if there is a combination, like he has shown not many good examples, even fishes or getting fishes along with the paddy is also very good. In Bihar, it has been practiced since long, although in the Zero Valley, it is being reported for the first time. So such things, students, you must understand that, say, if you get any crop, that maybe it may take 3-4 months, and after that, the field may remain free for little longer duration. So if you have got multi-crops, multi-pattern, say he has shown orange with pineapples, or anything can be done. So you can take his expertise and use it, because farming is the most important thing. So that's what. Nobody is asking anything, so I thought I kept on saying something. So it's all right. Thank you. Probably we'll have next presentation also.
Thank you very much. And if you want to reach out to me, then it is there in the abstract book, so you can call me anytime. And you are welcome to Arunachal Pradesh, the land of rising sun. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Like we were having 3 invited lectures, now we have 1 oral presentation. The presenter is Vidya Amrapala. So I request the presenter to kindly either load the presentation on the laptop there, or you can use your own laptop.
I will.
Okay, thank you. So I request the presenter to to give his brief introduction, because we don't have it in our file here.
Right, good afternoon. I hope the sleepiness has disappeared now. There's, a few, probably about an hour after the lunch. I'm going to be a bit more technical, but non-technical in presentation, because we have been talking about sustainability, we have been talking about health issues pertaining or relevant to the global warming, climate change, all those things. And then Professor Tripathi was talking about cadmium, which is heavily used in storage devices, which is battery. And I would like, I'm representing here with 2 organizations. On my right is World Renewable Energy Congress, and then on my extreme left is the University of Bolton from the United Kingdom, and right in the middle I have University of Mizoram logo, because I need to thank especially Professor Mishra and Dr. Let me get the name right in a bit. So the topic is basically harnessing Sri Lanka's offshore wind energy for net zero and regional carbon neutrality. Why region? Because we are in the SAARC region. And there is, okay, so offshore wind potential in Sri Lanka is huge. And when I say huge, in the capacity and the context of Sri Lanka, the energy requirement, current energy, the installed capacity is around 5,000 megawatts, let's say 5 gigawatts. And we can grow up to maybe 10,000 megawatts, maybe 10 gigawatts. Now, in this area, which belongs to Sri Lanka, has a capacity of 92 gigawatts. 92 gigawatts is a huge amount that Sri Lanka will not be able to utilize or consume. So what alternatives we have and what options we have and how we look forward and how do we implement those, I'm going to discuss in brief because I'm really pressed for time. And so you have a dotted line separate between Indian area and the Sri Lankan area, and of which you also have a color, coded bar here, which represent the wind speed in meters per second. Now, in wind energy utilization, you need about 3 meters per second to kickstart the rotor of a wind generator, wind turbine. So this area and the southeast of Sri Lanka is blessed with ample amount of wind energy, which means we are far ahead of the required wind speed limit of 3 megawatts to start a turbine. And we are almost 10 meters per second or more, so which means our potential is great. And you have an area with drawn lines across, which is recommended for fixed foundation wind turbine installation or wind farms. And the one with polka dots is proposed areas for floating wind foundations. Available options, as I said. So we have developed wind farms, basically developed wind farms just sufficient to achieve net zero and leave the rest. And the second one, develop full potential, achieve net zero and produce green hydrogen. And there I would like to say a few more words. Professor Tripathi was talking about cadmium, nickel, and all those, heavy metals. And there, the requirement is energy storage. Now, we can look at a different proposition to that, different way of storing energy. Instead of nickel-cadmium battery, of course, the batteries are being developed, or research is being done in different formations of, chemicals. Instead of lead or instead of nickel, we're talking of calcium and so on and so forth. So, right. So, develop full potential, connect with India, and produce green hydrogen with surplus energy. So, these are the three scenarios we are going to look at. The first is out of the question because it's a very selfish way of looking at it. The second is, again, it's good for Sri Lanka because economically it's going to really give a lot of energy, in the sense not in real energy terms, but in financially, to drive the country forward. Because the green hydrogen is going to be traded, and it's going to be one of the most traded energy source in time to come. Right. So looking at the three options here, the wind farms, hydrogen, and the connectivity. So this is a photo image where you produce the wind energy off in the ocean, in offshore area, and at site itself, at the bottom, on the platform, we produce hydrogen. So we produce hydrogen, we can collect it in a central location in the wind farm, and then have either pump it to a land station or export right from the offshore area. And then here is the connectivity that I was talking about. You collect all the offshore wind energy and then go across and connect to Indian grid in Madurai. And this study is fairly old, I would say. Then I think we have not really taken into the consideration of having offshore wind and then connecting up with the Indian grid. Right. So why do we come to India? Mainly, right at the inception, as I said, we were in starvation of energy from time to time. But now, with the scenario of having awful lot of offshore wind energy, we can take a look at, we can take a different angle to it. Now, energy is the most important thing in civilization. Hon'ble Champika Ranawaka was talking about it, and how the industrialization moved the humanity, human lives forward, and what a change it made. So let's go to the basics. The world has a huge poverty in energy. And let's look at SAARC region. SAARC region, this is a bit old data, but today we are in energy poverty, in starvation, and our figures are like 24%. That's in the whole region. And to tell you about Sri Lanka, we have eradicated that, but limited to the accessibility. The financially, we are unable to still provide the energy richness to the people of Sri Lanka to 100%. But the person who took the grid to your doorstep is none other than Honorable Champika Ranawaka, who made Sri Lanka is 100% penetrated country in electricity. So we have taken the grid all throughout the country, all the way to the doorstep of the people so that they can get the connection. And that is making a huge difference to the economy of any country, because everyone will start contributing to the economy of the country by way of producing or doing something meaningful in addition to what has been there before, prior to their connectivity with the electrical grid. Now, imagine if all of SAARC region, imagine we connect, say, half of what we have, say 50 gigawatts. That's not going to remain in India alone. And if we can collectively work and promote the SAARC grid, like the Eurogrid, you have all the connectivity, and energy, starvation is not going to be there, because India has an awful lot of energy as well. Southeast of India, and then the south, somewhere here is quite rich. And then all those energy is going to get absorbed into the SAARC grid. And if SAARC region can be energy rich. And if this 24% can be removed from a map, it's going to make a huge change. So we are talking of every, percentage being moved away is going to be an economic growth in the region. And we don't have to look at the rest of the world, and we are going to have a huge market within SAARC region to deal with. And India can be the leader in it, India can be the bigger brother in it, and drive this, concept forward and achieve what has to be achieved for our region. So this is the proposed connectivity and SAARC energy connectivity, cross-border energy trading, enhancing regional cooperation by working closer, energy security across the region. And what is needed is political will, initial plan of action, honest commitment beyond diplomacy, legal framework, roadmap implementation. So going back to few slides, I was talking about, scenarios, options. We had 3 options. The other option is politicians to, sell all the rights to somebody who is not going to remain in the country and pocket the money and leave the country in poverty forever. So that's, I'm not going to talk about that. So that political will is very, very important. It's a key to apply and implement all the rest of the things that I'm talking about. So I guess I'm on time, and this is my contact details, and Dr. Santanu is the other person whom I have to say thank you, and Professor Mishra for basically inviting Honorable Champika Ranawaka and myself. And thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Thank you, the chair. And if there is anything, you can ask me now. If not, you have my email address and LinkedIn profile. And thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mr. Vidya, for this brief and very, I think, informative presentation. I'll request, I have 2 quick questions, if you please permit.
Yes. Please.
One is like, what is the current energy status in Sri Lanka? Like, are we 100% is there any deficiency in Sri Lanka in regarding electricity supply?
There is no deficiency. We have basically we have good installed capacity. We have been having hydro electricity right from the 1960s, and thereafter we brought in there was a shortage that was coming up. We went through a few bad patches in the past. The first thermal plant came in, and then it expanded to several thermal plants, and then 2010, 2011, we got the 300 megawatts coal power plant. That is not the best that we should have had, but then energy need was quite tedious thing for the political masters to deal with, and they brought in there, and then it expanded to 900 megawatts, and India was expected to commission a plant which never occurred. Somehow we have no scarcity of electricity, and on top of that, another key factor that we introduced into our grid, again spearheaded by Honorable Champika Ranawaka, and he introduced rooftop solar in 2010, 2011, and then that really started pumping in number of kilowatts per residence, who got the ability to have off-grid or on-grid solution. So we are pretty much okay for the moment, and we can, when I say offshore wind energy can really make us sustainable, simply not because just having a light at home, or running your refrigerator, or charging your e-mobile or e-mobility, or electric car or electric truck. What I meant was to drive the entire nation to be net zero. So for which hydrogen is one thing, electrification is another. Public transportation can be totally electrified. And the battery is another challenge. But then hydrogen is there. And already Germany is quite ahead of this hydrogen mobility. Japan is following, and UK is also jumping into it. So green hydrogen and electricity. And that's going to really revolutionize the way of life. Answer your question, we are not in starvation. We have enough electricity, but this is going to shut all those thermal plants. Coal is going to be out soon. Thermal energy is soon.
At present, like how much of it we are getting as a clean energy, either from solar or from wind or from say nuclear?
We are just below 50%.
Okay.
We are just below 50% in Sri Lanka, and we have plans to achieve, 70% by 2030, and so on and so forth. So plans are there. There is potential resources, and the number one point, political will.
And what about the percentage of household covered at present? Like, are you able to cover 100% household?
Yeah. And, our base load is taken by, it was by hydro. Base load is taken by a coal plant, which I said 900 megawatts. We don't run that plant at full capacity all the time. There are instances where because when we run out of or run short, or when our resource, the hydro resource deplete, we run those at max speed, max potential. But, thanks to planning, thank God, thanks to our engineers, we are doing all right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Comment. So Vidya, Amru Palaji, welcome to this important session, along with Champika Ranawaka ji. So the important thing is that we know that the wind energy or rather the energy is very, very important for any country for its basic development and all. So very happy that you have got, you have shown the line also connecting Madurai. So probably India is also buying some of it, some of the wind energy.
You can do, yeah.
I just want to know from...
I believe it is only a proposal at this stage.
Yeah, there is no connectivity. There is no.
Okay.
We have been talking about it from 2010. I was the chairman of Ceylon Electricity Board,
Yeah.
and I was in the steering committee of this.
Yeah, because in that area plus in the western part of India, as you have shown, there are many windmills are there and lot of energy is being produced. So in India, one of the challenges that, as you said, that you are using batteries. So in India, the challenge is not only the batteries, but laying down the lines so that so as to transfer in the real time. Not only storing it in the battery and then transferring it.
Yeah.
So that's what is one of the challenges. Second thing is the elevation at which the wind speed matters. So that what should be the elevation of the windmill is again of importance. I'll just finish it up. Third thing is that as you place it, so it disturbs some of the environmental parameters. So is Sri Lankan government or during his tenure you have taken care of the impact on the environment or the elevation of these, or linking them with the line so that you don't use that many of batteries, because end of the day batteries will also be waste after say some years or so.
Right. Taking number one to respond. You have batteries, you're talking about getting or drawing energy from the batteries. Now that is the job of the system control. And it's seamless, blink of an eye, or even shorter than that, it takes care of that. When the resource, the power plant is is struggling, the grid is in starvation, the system control will automatically, it's highly automated, will call the battery bank 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and ask them to dispatch. So, and also prior to that, you do lot of study. A lot of research is being done. So, in the month of May, say for instance, you're going to have drought, you're going to, have almost zero, not zero, say 25% from hydro. You try to, look at the other resources and plan out before it occurs. And you may not plan out that, just blink of an eye spot. That responsibility is handed over to the system control, which is electronically done. Have I answered that? Number two, the mountains and peaks and, okay, the UK, one example, UK is a country where there is a lot of democracy. And they had a lot of difficulties in getting the wind farms on land. And their system is NIM, not in my backyard. You have it there, not in my backyard. So you can't do that. And then the government really took a stern decision and changed laws and relieved the legal framework, because everyone was going before the courts, to get a relief saying not to have the wind farm A or B in my backyard. You can't do that. So as a nation, you have to prioritize. There was a nice slide, in your presentation, if you remember, the development and mitigation or the climate change or whatever. So you have to strike a balance and then, decide as a country, as a nation, what is more priority. Of course, environment is priority, but then you cannot destroy environment and go for development. So it's important to strike a balance. Number three, was the mountain, the wind speed, was that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. On the elevation? Yeah. Elevation sometimes matters. It all depends. The wind patterns got to be studied. It doesn't mean that every mountain top will be windy. The wind patterns got to be, the wind speed data must be collected, analyzed, and then you have to map up. And sometimes you may have peaks, several peaks where wind speeds are inadequate for a windmill. And in Sri Lanka, there is one place, hilly station, which is Hon'ble, which has the highest wind potential. But it is not possible for us to harness the full potential because of the logistic issues. How to carry your stuff, how to carry your wind wheel, how to carry your other logistics, trucks, cranes, and rest of it. But the answer is go offshore. People will not be fussy very much, other than, fisher folks and then various other, marine biologists do get involved. But the decent environment impact assessment is needed, and we will, have to do that, and we'll get ourselves guided to the right destiny with all the technical inputs.
Yeah.
Did I cover all?
Yeah. Thank you very much. We could discuss because you could finish early. So thank you for everything. Now I would like to request our rapporteur to kindly summarize and give short report.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in this session, actually, we had 4 speakers. So Professor Devesh Walia, Professor of Geology, Northeast Hill University, was the first speaker. And then Dr. Narendra from CDRI is the Chief Scientist of the Medicinal Chemistry Division. And then after that, Dr. Sumpam, he is the Dean of Life Science and Agriculture of Rajiv Gandhi University, Itanagar. And finally, Mr. Vidya Amarapala from Sri Lanka. So, in the first lecture, it was mostly about the climate risk management. So, dealt with what are the natural hazards and how it is problematic and creating risk for the people, and with the increasing population, there is more occurrence of hazard and creating disasters. And in that case, what could be the vulnerability and its assessment, thorough study of that, so that the knowledge can be inculcated and transferred to the community, so that there should be proper preparedness, and that can mediate low risk for this kind of hazard if it occurs. In the second lecture by Dr. Narendra, it was dealt with a particular problem of BPH and how the phytopharmaceutical product can be used for management of that. And in this benign prostatic hyperplasia, he talked about what is the problem and what it creates, the kind of problem people used to have for it, and that may lead to bladder problem or UTI. And then he has largely talked about a compound that has been identified from Terminalia cebula, and they were mostly concentrated on cebulinic acid. And then how in the their trials, how it is performing, and they have elaborately studied that up to the rat model, then parallelly for the rabbit model, and the human trial is still to be done. And this is a way forward for the drug development, and that could be a very valuable information to come with a herbal product which can deal with the management of BPH. In the third presentation by Dr. Sumpam, it was on agroforestry steps towards the sustainability. We all know that it is not only this Arunachal Pradesh, mostly in the northeastern part of India, we are having the Jhum cultivation, and their alternative way of cultivating the crops into the land, parallelly in incorporating agriculture crops, horticulture crops along with the forestry, is a very important and prime factor. And he has stressed on that aspect and talked about integrating crops along with the forest plants, which are prima facie of the economic importance to that area, and to have a designed marketing channel so that the farmers can fetch good earning out of that, and it can be a sustainable model for the environment and for the livelihood. And the last presentation was by Mr. Vidya Amarapala. This is a very timely presentation on offshore wind energy and its strategical point in case of the country Sri Lanka. We all know that and from his presentation also, the locational benefit of the country and its offshore utilization of the wind energy. And when we are talking about climate change and the mitigating strategies and natural resources management in this body or in these conferences, we are rather very much oriented with a strategy where we can reduce our carbon footprint. And in this situation, when energy is a very pivotal role for moving or for going ahead, in that situation, the renewable energy and the concept of that is very important. And we all know that in the developing country, still we are mostly stressed on utilization of the coal or the thermal powers. But alternatively, if the wind energy or the solar energy in a massive way and with government proper initiative and willful use, if we can go with it, it can be a very good options to mitigate this problem and to reduce the carbon footprint. So these are all about the broad lines of discussion what we had by these eminent professors, dignified people that we have with us in this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Devashish. So on behalf of the chair, my co-chair, Professor Devesh, and reporter, Dr. Devashish, I thank all the speakers for this session. I thank all the invited guests for staying till the end of the session, and the students also for your patient hearing. So thank you so much. Now it's some announcement from the organizing team. Thank you very much.
I request all the resource person and delegates to join us for the tea outside, and I request you all to assemble back here around 5:20. Till then you can have discussion among yourself, and at 5:20 we will assemble for the culture program and dinner.